Hi, my name is Gabe Reed, and I'm about to read my $564 million lawsuit that I filed against the 4J School District here in Eugene, Oregon, along with 24 other individuals for their role in covering up the largest case of child abuse against special needs kids in American history. Now, before we get into this, I did write this entire 106-page document all by myself without the help of representation and without the help of a lawyer. As I pursue this legal action, I will be representing my daughter pro se. For those of you guys who don't know, pro se means self-representation. Now, the reason why I'm going pro se is twofold. Bottom line, I believe I'm the best man for the job. My daughter is nonverbal and autistic, and I just don't believe in hiring a stranger who does not know her, who knows anything about her mannerisms, how she is, how she operates as an autistic person in this world, regardless of their legal expertise. One of the challenges we had in talking to over 20 different lawyers, most lawyers wouldn't take our case, and the ones that did just wanted to kind of push her through the system and move on. The second reason why I decided to go pro se is because this is my protest against a justice system that discriminates against working class people by keeping them legally illiterate and also making it economically impossible for them to maintain proper representation. Now, if you want to read along with this document, I'll leave a link in the description for that, and you can also read it at another time. If you want to support my protest or help us as we pursue legal action against the 4J School District and the 24 other individuals that covered up the abuse of these special needs children, we'll leave links down to the GoFundMe, to the CashApp. Please, we need all the help and support we can get as we pursue this action. But let's jump straight into this 106-page document, again, that I wrote all by myself. As you guys see here, we did it in a United States District Court, District of Oregon, the Eugene Division. Gabriel Reed as next of friend to Maya Bella Reed. We are the plaintiffs. As you can see, this is our case number, and we are demanding for a jury trial. I'm going to get into the defendants because I'm going to read about all of them here in a second. Okay, introduction. This is what brought about this action. Let me get some water. Or juice, rather. As the byproduct of a civil conspiracy to misrepresent the numbers of restraint and seclusions within the district, plaintiff Maya Bella, who is an 8-year-old nonverbal autistic former student in the Eugene School District 4J, was illegally restrained and secluded from her peers by her teacher, Paula McCown, inside a torture device called the Roundy Round over 600 times over a 2-year period. Several whistleblowers alerted multiple principals, HR administrators, and the superintendent, Jonathan Andrew Dye Jr., of Paula's abuse. In furtherance of the conspiracy, the district conducted a self-contained internal investigation into Paula's actions in the spring of 2023. Upon the completion of this investigation, all the whistleblowers were either fired, forced to resign, or transferred to other classes within the district, and Paula was allowed to maintain her position as a life skills teacher at Charlemagne Elementary School, as the district called these allegations of abuse the result of workplace drama. Number 2, jurisdiction. This court has jurisdiction over this action under this code right here, as civil action of this case falls under federal law, namely Section 504 of the Rehabilitation Act of 1973 and the 8th Amendment. The District of Oregon is the proper location for this action, as all action fall under this statute, as all action in regard to this complaint took place in Oregon and all parties lived in Oregon at all material times of this complaint. The Eugene Division is the proper divisional venue, as all action took place in regard to this complaint inside Lane County, as all parties either resided in or worked for the district, whose principal place of business is located at 200 North Monroe Street in Eugene, Oregon, 97402. Parties. Plaintiff Maya Bella Reed is a minor child who resides in the Eugene School District 4J in Lane County, Oregon. Plaintiff Maya Bella Reed at all relevant times was a student at Charlemagne Elementary School. Suit is brought herein on Maya Bella's behalf by her father, Plaintiff Gabriel Reed. Plaintiff Gabriel Reed is filing on behalf of Maya Bella as managing parent. Plaintiff Gabriel Reed is an adult individual who is a resident and taxpayer in the Eugene School District 4J in Lane County, Oregon. Plaintiff Gabriel Reed is the parent of Plaintiff Maya Bella. Defendant Eugene School District 4J is and was a public entity acting under the color of the law, organized and engaged in providing educational services in Lane County, Oregon. The district operates Charlemagne Elementary School. Defendant Paula McCown at all relevant times was the life skills teacher at Charlemagne Elementary School in Lane County, sued here in her individual and representative capacity. Defendant Marriott Bosque at all relevant times was an educational assistant in the life skills classroom at Charlemagne Elementary School in Lane County, sued here in his individual and representative capacity. Defendant John Boita at all relevant times was the occupational therapist for the Eugene School District 4J in Lane County and worked in the life skills classroom at Charlemagne Elementary School, sued here in his individual and representative capacity. Kayla Duncan at all relevant time was the occupational therapist assistant for Eugene School District 4J in Lane County and worked in the life skills classroom at Charlemagne Elementary School, sued here in her individual and representative capacity. Defendant Joe Hadley during all relevant times between 2021 and 2022 was one of the principals at Charlemagne Elementary School and was the building administrator for the life skills classroom at Charlemagne Elementary School, sued here in his individual and representative capacity. Defendant Jennifer Annette at all relevant times was the autism consultant for the Eugene 4J in Lane County, worked in the life skills classroom at Charlemagne Elementary School, sued here in her individual and representative capacity. Defendant Catherine Johnson at all relevant times was an employee and representative for the Eugene School District 4J in Lane County, sued here in her individual and representative capacity. Defendant Sarah Campbell, since 2023, was one of the principals at Charlemagne Elementary School and was the building administrator for the life skills classroom at Charlemagne Elementary School, sued here in her individual and representative capacity. Defendant Melissa Ibarra at all relevant times was an employee and representative for the Eugene School District 4J in Lane County, sued here in her individual and representative capacity. Defendant Bernadette Adarin at all relevant times was an employee and representative for the Eugene School District 4J in Lane County, sued here in her individual and representative capacity. Defendant Seth Pfefferlin at all relevant times was an employee and representative for the Eugene School District 4J in Lane County, sued here in his individual and representative capacity. Defendant Mike Ingman at all relevant times was an employee and representative for the Eugene School District 4J in Lane County, sued here in his individual and representative capacity. Defendant Erica Wolf at all relevant times was an employee and representative for the 4J Eugene School District 4J in Lane County, sued here in her individual and representative capacity. Defendant Jonathan Andrew Dye Jr. at all relevant times was a superintendent of the Eugene School District 4J in Lane County, sued here in his individual and representative capacity. Defendant Courtney Leonard during all relevant times between 2019 and 2020 was one of the principals at Charlemagne Elementary School and was the building administrator for the life skills classroom at Charlemagne Elementary School, sued here in her individual and representative capacity. Defendant Abby Llewell No at all relevant times was the augmentative communication specialist for the Eugene School District 4J in Lane County and worked in the life skills classroom at Charlemagne Elementary School, sued here in her individual and representative capacity. Defendant Rebecca Anson at all relevant times was a speech and language pathologist for the Eugene School District 4J in Lane County and worked in the life skills classroom at Charlemagne Elementary School, sued here in her individual and representative capacity. Defendant Keith Usury at all relevant time was hired and conducted an external investigation for the Eugene School District 4J in Lane County, sued here in his individual and representative capacity. Defendant Eliza Drummond at all relevant times was the secretary for Charlemagne Elementary School in Lane County, sued here in her individual and representative capacity. Defendant Karen Ekbar at all relevant times was an employee and representative for the Eugene School District 4J in Lane County, sued here in her individual and representative capacity. Defendant Tom Maloney during all relevant times between 2021 and 2022 was one of the principals at Charlemagne Elementary School and was the building administrator for the life skills classroom at Charlemagne Elementary School, sued here in his individual and representative capacity. Defendant Lisa Forgebeck at all relevant times was the operational coordinator for the superintendent office for Eugene School District 4J in Lane County, sued here in her individual and representative capacity. Defendant Michelle Dunn at all relevant times was an employee employee and representative for the Eugene School District 4J in Lane County, sued here in her individual and representative capacities. Defendant Delia Thomas, at all relevant times, was an employee and representative for the Eugene School District 4J in Lane County, sued here in her individual and representative capacity. Only 100 pages left to go. All right, here we go. Statement of facts. Beginning August 31st, 2023 and through October 14th, 2023, 6 whistleblowers, whom all worked in the classroom with Maya Bella and defendant Paula McCown at various times between September 2021 through August 2023, contacted the plaintiff's fathers to tell him that Maya was being emotionally and psychologically abused by defendant Paula and that the Eugene School District 4J had knowledge of the abuse and was actively covering it up. The following is the statement of facts as presented by whistleblowers A, B, C, D, E, and F through audio recordings and text messages. Out of fear of retaliation from the district, all the whistleblowers except one have asked to remain anonymous. Whistleblower A. Whistleblower A worked with defendant Paula for 4 consecutive school years beginning in 2019. Whistleblower A is a current employee of the Eugene School District 4J. Whistleblower A worked as an educational assistant to defendant Paula in the life skills classroom at Charlemagne Elementary School. There is only one life skills class at Charlemagne Elementary School. Defendant Paula McCown is the designated life skills teacher at Charlemagne Elementary School. At no point during her tenure as an educational assistant at Charlemagne Elementary School, while on the job or prior to working, was Whistleblower A under the influence of any substance that would impair her perception of reality. Whistleblower A was physically present inside the life skills classroom at Charlemagne Elementary School when she witnessed the abuse. Whistleblower A stated that Paula showed abusive practices towards children with special needs early on in their working relationship. Whistleblower A stated Paula's abuse became, progressively worse through the subsequent school years. Charlemagne Elementary School had multiple principals in 4 years, making documentation and follow-up difficult for Whistleblower A. Whistleblower A witnessed defendant Paula verbally abuse Maya Bella daily. Whistleblower A saw defendant Paula play mental games with Maya Bella. Whistleblower A stated that Paula targeted Maya. According to Whistleblower A, defendant Paula would not allow Maya to do activities other children were allowed to do for no apparent reason. Whistleblower A said defendant Paula wanted to make Maya's life miserable. Whistleblower A had to intervene often between defendant Paula and Maya. Whistleblower A described the constant need to intervene between defendant Paula and Maya as exhausting. Whistleblower A stated it was obvious defendant Paula found joy in signaling Maya out in front of the classroom. I told y'all I did this myself. Whenever Maya needed a sensory break, Paula would make such a big deal about it that Whistleblower C had to often sneak Maya into the sensory room so that defendant Paula wouldn't notice by Whistleblower A's account. According to Whistleblower A, if Maya needed a snack or a sensory break, defendant Paula would not allow her to have either during time periods when other children were allowed to have those physical needs met. Defendant Paula enforced unreasonable and unnecessary rules that only applied to Maya, such as she always had to be seated or always had to be working. Whistleblower A can confirm that defendant Paula's abuse started halfway through Maya's kindergarten year and was consistent from that point on. Whistleblower A described herself as defendant Paula's right-hand man and was given major responsibilities such as scheduling duties for the entire class. In a moment of vulnerability, defendant Paula made the brutal admission to Whistleblower A that she didn't like them and couldn't stand them in reference to Maya and another minority student. Because of this admission, Whistleblower A made sure to never schedule defendant Paula with Maya whenever possible. During Maya's kindergarten year, defendant Paula told Whistleblower A that she specifically didn't like Maya and did not give a reason for her dislike. Whistleblower A expressed that she wished the district was doing more during this time period. According to Whistleblower A, the district was aware of defendant Paula's behavior. Whistleblower A expressed that multiple reports were made to the Department of Human Services, and at least one of them, Maya was named as a victim of Paula's abuse. Whistleblower A expressed that every principal over the 4-year period she worked in the classroom with defendant Paula was made aware of her abusive behavior. Upon alerting various principals throughout the year, defendant Paula was talked to, but no permanent change was made. Whistleblower A first told defendant Courtney Leonard about the illegal practices of defendant Paula on November 24, 2019. According to Whistleblower A, despite alerting her supervisor in 2019, the district did not get involved until 2023. During the internal investigation, Whistleblower A was told by defendant Mike Ingman she was not allowed to discuss defendant Paula's behavior with anyone else, including the other witnesses and the EAs in the classroom. Whistleblower A expressed that she was very vocal to the district about defendant Paula's abusive practices. Whistleblower A said she was reluctant to say anything to parents because she feared that the district would retaliate against her. Whistleblower A is quoted saying that she was banking on the district telling the parents, but they never did. District representatives came into the classroom to talk about defendant Joe Hadley not coming back from the following school year, 2023 to 2024, as the principal, and Whistleblower A assumed it had to do with the reporting of defendant Paula's abuse. In February 2023, Whistleblower A, along with other witnesses, reached out to their OSEA union rep, and he instructed the EAs to make a formal district complaint. According to Whistleblower A, Whistleblower B was the first to file a Department of Human Services report in 2023. After Whistleblower A saw how the district handled Whistleblower B's reporting, she began keeping detailed documentation on a regular basis. After a few days after filing the district complaint, the district transferred Whistleblower A to a different life skills classroom within the district. Whistleblower A felt the transfer was to get her to quit speaking about the abuse she witnessed. Whistleblower A saw defendant Paula do all of the following: illegally restraining children with IEPs in chairs, pulling children with IEPs by their arm, dragging children with IEPs across the floor. While the abusive actions were evident from the beginning of their working relationship, Whistleblower A stated that the abuse ramped up during Maya's kindergarten year. Whistleblower A saw the defendant Paula teaching EAs that weren't experienced illegal methods of restraint for children with IEPs. Defendant Paula would express anger and dissatisfaction when Whistleblower A spoke up about teaching EAs illegal methods of restraint. In January 2023, Defendant Paula became aware that DHS reports were made about her and began to distance herself from Whistleblower A. In the winter of 2022, one of the classroom EAs filed a DHS report on a student whom they suspected were being abused at home. Defendant Paula scolded all the classroom EAs, admonishing them not to make a DHS reports. According to Whistleblower A, the parent of the child who Whistleblower B made the DHS report on attempted to get information from the district about what happened to their child, but they were given vague information. Whistleblower A described it as hard to watch in reference to the way that the district handled the reports of abuse. They were more concerned with covering their own ass. The parent of Maya's best friend in the life skills classroom pulled her daughter from the class when she heard of the abuse. The parent not only encouraged Whistleblower A to speak up, but specifically told her to talk to Maya's parents because she was extremely concerned about Maya. Whistleblower A described the actions taken by defendant Eugene School District 4J as vindictive. Whistleblower A stated that defendant Paula rarely tracked data as it pertained to the progression of educational goals when it came to Maya. Upon viewing data collected by defendant Paula that is written in defendant Paula's handwriting in regards to Maya's educational progression, Whistleblower A asserts that the data is made up and that defendant Paula never took data herself. When asked how often Maya was put in the Roundy Round, Whistleblower A responded more commonly closer to 5 times per day, but definitely every day. Whistleblower A agreed with Whistleblower C's assertion that Maya spent 70% of the 370 days that she attended Charlemagne Elementary School inside the Roundy Round. Whistleblower A stated that Maya was in the Roundy Round when she was emotionally distressed more than when she was by choice for break. Since the life skills class at Charlemagne Elementary School was forbade by defendant Paula to track restraint and seclusion, Whistleblower A estimates that Maya was placed in the Roundy Round 3 to 10 times per day, sometimes up to 20 minutes at a time. When asked, out of the 2 years Maya was at Charlemagne, is it fair to say there were over 1,000 instances that she went into the Roundy Round? Whistleblower A responded that it's definitely in the high hundreds. Whistleblower A firmly asserts that an appeal of the district's internal investigation was sent, but never heard back from the defendant School District 4J. Whistleblower A describes the verbal abuse of defendant Paula as constantly aggressively yelling at her on an everyday basis. Whistleblower A and Whistleblower C spent the most time with Maya while she attended the life skills class at Charlemagne Elementary School. Whistleblower A did not receive any restraint or seclusion training from the district until November 2019, 2 months after she started working in the life skills classroom with defendant Paula. Whistleblower A was not made aware of Oregon's restraint and seclusion laws by the district prior to starting her work as an educational assistant. Whistleblower A and Whistleblower D found out about Oregon restraint and seclusion laws through their own research while they were trying to research the complaint process. Whistleblower B. Whistleblower B is a current employee of the Eugene School District 4J. Whistleblower B worked with Maya in the defendant Paula's life skills class at Charlemagne Elementary School for 6 months. Whistleblower B worked as an educational assistant to defendant Paula in the life skills classroom at Charlemagne Elementary School. At no point during her tenure as educational assistant at Charlemagne Elementary School while on the job or prior to working was Whistleblower B under the influence of any substance that would impair her perception of reality. Whistleblower B was physically present inside the life skills classroom at Charlemagne Elementary School when she witnessed the abuse. Whistleblower B witnessed defendant Paula abuse another student in the life skills class and made a DHS report about Paula's abuse. Against Paula's direction, Whistleblower B encouraged the other EAs in the classroom to make DHS reports. Whistleblower B witnessed defendant Paula physically and emotionally abuse several students in the life skills classroom. According to Whistleblower B, defendant Paula would starve Maya by not allowing her access to food when other children had access to food. Whistleblower B stated that Maya was denied access to activities by defendant Paula when other children had access to the same activities for no educational or safety reasons. It is Whistleblower B's testimony that Maya was not allowed by defendant Paula to go to recess during designated recess times. This caused confusion and emotional distress to Maya because she did not understand why she was not allowed to go outside when other children were. Defendant Paula obligated Maya to stay at her desk when other children were allowed to do preferred activities, according to Whistleblower B. Whistleblower B stated that defendant Paula definitely secluded Maya. Whistleblower B said over the course of time, the sight of defendant Paula would cause emotional distress to Maya to the point where she started hysterically crying. According to Whistleblower B, when the EAs would bring Maya into general education classrooms, she was completely fine. But when she had to return to defendant Paula's class, she would break down crying. Whistleblower B noted that Maya, as well as other students, acted completely different when they were in the care of defendant Paula versus when she was in the care of other EAs. Maya's emotional distress from being in the presence of defendant Paula was so bad that Whistleblower A had to make sure to schedule Maya away from Paula for the school day. According to Whistleblower B, all reporting to defendant Eugene School District 4J and DHS was about the abusive behaviors of defendant Paula. Whistleblower B saw defendant Paula abuse other kids who were not Maya. Whistleblower B said there was severe physical abuse towards other kids by defendant Paula. It is Whistleblower B's testimony that the district has been doing a great job of hiding things. In regard to the student Whistleblower B made a report on, she stated that the parent of the child tried to get information about the report from the principal of Charlemagne, but very little information was given. Whistleblower B says Maya was in emotional distress at least 5 times per day. Whistleblower B saw Maya being placed in the Roundy Round at least 15 times per week. Whistleblower B describes the district handling of the internal investigation as unprofessional. Defendant Paula's abuse of Maya Bella happened over the summer at ESY, i.e. summer school. Defendant Paula discouraged Whistleblower B from making DHS reports. $90 more pages. Here we go. Whistleblower C. Whistleblower C is a former employee of the Eugene School District 4J. Whistleblower C worked directly with Maya in Defendant Paula's life skills classroom at Charlemagne Elementary School from September 2021 to February 2023 when she resigned. Whistleblower C worked as an educational assistant to Defendant Paula in the life skills classroom at Charlemagne Elementary School. According to whistleblowers A, B, D, E, and F, Whistleblower C spent the most time working with Maya during her tenure. At no point during her tenure as an educational assistant at Charlemagne Elementary School while on the job or prior to working was Whistleblower C under the influence of any substance that would impair her perception of reality. According to Whistleblower C, the Eugene School District 4J never provided her with training on restraints and seclusion prior to working in the life skills classroom. Whistleblower C was physically present inside the life skills classroom at Charlemagne Elementary School when she witnessed the abuse. It is Whistleblower C's testimony that the defendant Paula had very unfair and inconsistent rules in regard to Maya. According to Whistleblower C, Defendant Paula would starve Maya by denying her access to food while other kids were allowed to eat. When Whistleblower C would prepare food for the entire class, Defendant Paula specifically instructed her to make food for everyone except Maya. Watching all the other children eat and not being given a reason for why she was not allowed to eat confused and dysregulated Maya. Due to her autism diagnosis, Maya already struggles with the concept of mealtime, finding it hard to understand when it is and is not an appropriate time to eat. Seeing other children being allowed to eat but being forbidden from eating herself caused tremendous anxiety, confusion, and dysregulation. As a punishment for being intentionally dysregulated by Defendant Paula during other children's meals times, Defendant Paula would then illegally seclude Maya from the rest of the classroom by sending her to the seclusion area where the Roundy Round was placed. According to Whistleblower C, the food treatment of Maya was unfair, inconsistent, and confusing even to staff members. No one understood why Defendant Paula would not allow Maya to eat when other children were allowed to eat. Whistleblower C said Defendant Paula would typically talk to Maya in a mean or threatening tone, which was vastly different from the way she talked to other students. This mean and threatening tone would be used for arbitrary behaviors that Maya displayed, even though softer, gentler redirection was used for other children who displayed the same behaviors in similar contexts. The seclusion room where the Roundy Round was placed was supposed to be used for safety measures if a child was an imminent threat to themselves or other children, and a less restrictive measure would not be effective. However, according to Whistleblower C, Paula often would put Maya in the Roundy Round for being too loud. Too loud would be arbitrary volume level at Paula's discretion. Maya would have to remain in the seclusion room and inside the Roundy Round until Defendant Paula decided she could come out. According to Whistleblower C, when it came to Paula putting Maya in the seclusion room or the Roundy Round, there was never a consistent routine on what Maya needed to do to come out of the room, nor why she was put in the room or the Roundy Round. The inconsistency of Defendant Paula's rules for Maya was very confusing for Whistleblower C. Whistleblower C stated that the abuse started during the second semester of Maya's kindergarten year and got progressively worse until she resigned. As Whistleblower C begins her master's course for special education at the University of Oregon, she realized that the instructions about how to run a special education classroom by Defendant Paula was not only inadequate but also illegal. Whistleblower C said there was no definitive moment leading to the mistreatment of Maya by Defendant Paula. There was nothing Maya did or did not do that warranted Paula's abuse of Maya. The standard protocol in the life skills classroom at Charlemagne Elementary School was to give children the opportunity to finish their lunch if they did not finish their lunch at lunchtime. It was also usual that snacks would be given to the entire class at the teacher's discretion if it was deemed appropriate and necessary. Every other child was given this opportunity except Maya. Whistleblower C recalls Defendant Paula stating publicly, "Let's make a snack for everyone since they're getting hangry except Maya." When asked why Maya was not allowed to eat when other children were, Paula said the instructions came from her co-defendants, the occupational therapist John Boita and the autism behavioral specialist Jennifer Annette, that Maya was only allowed to have food during lunch. This lunch plan was never discussed with nor approved by Maya's parents. Maya would often come home with most of her lunch still packed. To hide the nature of why Maya's lunch from home was not eaten, Paula wrote in the communication folder that she later shredded that Maya either ate the school lunch or wasn't hungry that day. However, as soon as Maya came home, she ate her after school lunch or her after school snack at normally fast and quickly requested for more food, often causing the household to run out of food faster than expected. The one unique characteristic that got under Paula's skins when it came to Maya was the fact that Maya would stand up for herself when Paula would abuse her. According to Whistleblower C, when Paula used mean and threatening tones with Maya, Maya would talk back with elevated vocalizations to show her disapproval of Paula's tone. Maya Bella cannot speak. She has said very few intelligible words and none with consistency throughout her life. It was apparent to Whistleblower C that Paula did not like that she couldn't blindly control Maya, and that was a problem. As best as she knew how, despite being autistic and having very limited verbalization abilities, Maya stood up for herself, which often infuriated Paula. When Maya defied Paula's abuse, Paula would escalate their interactions by yelling at Maya and then loudly clapping at Maya. According to Whistleblower C, not only was this traumatizing for Maya, but it was jarring and unsettling for the adults in the classroom as well. It was evident that Paula was trying to intimidate Maya into submission. As Maya, with many students with ASD, struggled with transition periods. Transition periods are the stopping of one activity to begin another. Even with verbal cues, at times, Maya does not comprehend all the verbal information and has difficulty sequencing information. This was communicated to Paula by Maya's parents and is well known amongst every community that works with children with ASD. Due to not being able to comprehend verbal instructions and the need for predictability to be able to regulate herself, when transition periods come, Maya would loudly vocalize as well as tend to become more energetic. According to Whistleblower C, Paula would build off Maya's energies during transition periods, and that would lead to antagonistic interactions from Paula to Maya. For another child, loudness during the transition period was a non-issue. However, regarding Maya, it would trigger Paula, which would lead to more threatening and aggressive tones when giving Maya instructions. One of Maya's favorite activities is to go outside. It gives her the opportunity to unload some of her energy in a fun way by running around. So recess is a time that Maya looked forward to every day. However, while at Charlemagne Elementary School, Maya was the only student that was heavily policed on the playground to the point where there were very few ways Maya could release her energy. It got so bad that Maya would spend most of her favorite time of the day crying. The decision to heavily police Maya on the playground was given by former principal at Charlemagne Elementary, defendant Joe Hadley. According to Whistleblower C, Joe wasn't involved in the life skills classroom much, and she felt, like she had about Paula, that this was an opportunity to flex his muscle. It frustrated Whistleblower C to see Maya spending much of recess crying outside and upset, even though it was her favorite time of day. Whistleblower C attempted to talk to defendant Joe Hadley about her concerns, specifically about Paula's treatment of Maya. However, prior to taking a meeting with Whistleblower C, defendant Joe Hadley was approached by Whistleblower A about the mistreatment of another special needs child at the hands of Paula. While trying to report the abuse of Paula, Joe redirected the conversation to the report Whistleblower A had made previously. However, Whistleblower C was not present during the abuse of that child. That was a separate incident totally unrelated to Maya's abuse, and Whistleblower C had no firsthand knowledge about. Joe interviewed Whistleblower C about Whistleblower's A reports and lumped her concerns about Maya in with that report. Joe never gave Whistleblower C the appropriate attention she needed to voice her concerns about safety for Maya. Let me take a drink. 1/5 of the way done. In January 2023, whistleblowers B and C filed separate DHS reports on Paula. Shortly after, Paula was not present in the classroom for some time. During this time, defendant Joe interviewed several of the whistleblowers. In one of the interviews, Joe made the comment that the whistleblowers that they are on a witch hunt. Once these initial interviews were conducted, Paula returned to the classroom. Upon returning to the classroom, whistleblowers A and C met with Joe and told them they did not feel comfortable nor safe working with Paula. In response, Joe replied, "I wouldn't want to let workplace drama get in the way of education." On or sometime around January 20th, 2023, defendant Seth Pfefferlin led a restorative justice circle to solve the workplace drama between the EAs and Paula. Paula was present in the restorative justice circle. It was an uncomfortable and awkward meeting because not only did none of the whistleblowers feel like their concerns were being taken seriously, but clearly Paula had the support of the administration. Everyone was afraid to restate their claims as their initial eyewitness testimonies were being used to gaslight them into an unwarranted and unnecessary restorative justice circle. It was clear to the whistleblower C that their reports weren't being taken seriously, and they were trying to make them shut up. On that day, whistleblower C resigned. This is her resignation letter. To whom this concerns, I, whistleblower C, refuse to work in an environment where abusive and unethical treatment of exceptional children is not only tolerated but promoted. This is not an environment that I can grow in and learn as an educator. I can no longer tolerate the toxicity and outrageous behavior of the life skills teacher at Charlemagne. Due to these reasons, I resign effective 2/3/23. Sincerely, whistleblower C. Whistleblower C sent her resignation to defendant Joe Hadley and defendant Seth Pfefferlin. Afterwards, Seth Pfefferlin emailed her under the pretense of being shocked over the allegations, even though what prompted Seth to have a restorative justice circle were the allegations of abuse. On January 22nd, 2023, defendant Seth sent the following email to whistleblower C. Hi, whistleblower C. I am very alarmed to hear that abusive and unethical actions may be happening with our students. This is extremely serious, and you have a legal obligation to report such behavior immediately to Joe, your supervisor, as per your mandatory reporter training. And then in parentheses, in addition to DHS welfare reporting. I am including our HR administrators on this email, and we will follow up with you regarding your resignation about the potential mistreatment of children with disabilities. We need to learn as much as possible from you so we can follow up accordingly. Please work with us so we can ensure the children are in good care. Thank you, Seth. Seth attached defendant Mike Ingman to this email. In this email, defendant Seth is giving the impression that this is the first time he's ever heard about Paula being abusive towards children with special needs. However, a former EA stated that she had several conversations with Seth and defendant Courtney Leonard in 2019 regarding Paula being abusive behavior towards children before Maya started attending the class. To which Seth replied, "Your employment is at will. If you don't like it, you can leave." Eventually, Seth allowed this EA to transfer to a different classroom. Seth also stated that whistleblower C had a legal obligation to report to her immediate supervisor, Joe Hadley. This is only technically true because ORS 419B.015 only requires that oral report by telephone or otherwise to local office of the Department of Human Services, to the designee of the department, or to law enforcement agency within the county where the person making the report is located at the time of the contact. Under state law, whistleblower C had no obligation to report to Joe, even though she had already reported the abuse to defendant Joe and he wrote it off as workplace drama. The legal obligation came because of Eugene School District school board policy, which states that any district employee having reasonable cause to believe that any child with whom an employee comes in contact has suffered abuse, or that any adult or student with whom the employee is in contact has abused the child, shall 1. Call or make an oral report immediately to the local office of Department of Human Services, DHS, or to a law enforcement agency within the county where the person making the report is at the time of the contact, and 2, immediately notify your building administrator. In theory, this is not a problem. However, when practiced by the district, it allows for the defendants to conspire together to get ahead of the story and control the narrative as seen here in this case. Seth and his co-conspirators are telling employees and parents that learn about the happenings inside of Paula's life skills class that this is just workplace drama. It gives the appearance that the issue at Charlemagne is personal in nature and not one of child abuse. While there are multiple eyewitnesses to the child abuse over the 4 years Paula has been the life skills teacher at Charlemagne, none of this came from a place of animosity against Paula from any of the whistleblowers. The story of workplace drama has allowed for child abuse committed by Paula to go unnoticed for years. From the language used in both Seth's email and the district school board policy, the district prioritized employees reporting acts of abuse to the district's approved building administrator over the Department of Human Services. Anytime someone tries to report abuse to their building administrator, i.e. the principal, the district gaslights the employees to thinking that this is simply an issue of competing personalities not getting along. This is a sham. The district uses this legal obligation it invented in their school board policy to control reports of abuse. The employees who report eventually feel gaslit and exhausted by their administration and either quit speaking up or eventually resigns, as Whistleblower C did. Defendant Seth wanted it to go away, so he gave the impression that he cared and that he had no knowledge of reports, even though he had prior knowledge of reports of abuse and did not take appropriate action. In the words of Whistleblower C, the district is trying to cover it up as disgruntled employees. The district is trying to make it go away. Towards the end of her tenure at Charlemagne Elementary School, Whistleblower C's relationship with Paula became contentious, most notably due to Whistleblower C reporting on Paula. On one occasion, Paula tried to get Whistleblower C to illegally restrain a student, and Whistleblower C boldly denied Paula's instruction. As the head teacher of the life skills class at Charlemagne Elementary, Paula created a work environment that was built on fear. There was a fear of speaking up because staff members who did speak up were scolded by Paula to the point where they would cry. According to Whistleblower C, Paula was inconsistent with rules when it came to staff members. If staff members questioned Paula or complained, she would pair them with the most physically aggressive kids for the whole day. According to Whistleblower C, the Roundy Round was placed in an area where you could not hear Maya scream unless the door was open. Whistleblower C said one of the hardest decisions of her life was to resign from her position because she genuinely loved to work with this population, and she had great rapport with her other coworkers who weren't Paula. The emotional and psychological trauma from the work environment created by Paula and promoted by the district affected Whistleblower C long after she stopped working there. However, she did feel an overwhelming sense of relief because she left a toxic situation, although it did break her heart that she had to resign and Paula got to stay. According to Whistleblower C, the specialists, Jennifer Annette, John Boyta, Kayla Duncan, Rebecca Anson, and Abby Knows Lowe are all in on the cover-up. She stated that they know more than they're letting on. She stated she doesn't trust them because when the whistleblowers began reporting Paula, the specialists were more upset that the EAs were filing complaints rather than with Paula for committing the abuse. In particular, John Boyta was angrier and more flippant towards students after the district complaint was filed against Paula. From Whistleblower C's perspective, she and the other EAs felt stuck. She felt like no matter what the district said, they were not taking the reporting seriously because when they did report, it was diminished to workplace drama. Even though all other whistleblowers agree that Whistleblower C spent the most time with Maya, Whistleblower C never saw Maya's IEP goals, nor her IEP report for the entire time she worked with Maya. Paula would give her summarized versions of the goals, but never let her see the IEP report directly. Whistleblower C said she never knew what to work on with Maya because Paula refused her from seeing the goals. At best, Paula would give her a worksheet to work on with Maya. When read and questioned about Maya's present levels from her 2023 IEP report, she stated that it doesn't make sense and there should be some type of criteria. Maya's present levels from her May 16, 2023 IEP report reads as follows. Maya knows 10 to 15 letters of the alphabet with 80% accuracy in 3 out of 5 attempts. It's hard to determine how many she knows due to her attention span. Maya also recognizes her names at times, but gaining her attention can be difficult. Maya is able to ID her name with 80% accuracy in 3 out of 5 opportunities. Maya has excellent skills using the writing wizard and tracing her letters. Maya can ID numbers up to 5, as well as putting correct numbers of objects next to numbers 1 and 2 with adult prompts, with 100% accuracy in 3 out of 5 opportunities. Maya uses the writing wizards to trace her numbers and is doing a great job. Maya knows all her colors when she can focus. Maya is able to ID colors with 90% accuracy in 3 out of 5 opportunities. Maya is able to match colors with 100% accuracy in 3 out of 5 opportunities. Whistleblower C stated that Maya could match letters, but only one at a time, and she wasn't attaching meaning to the letters. She was good at matching the shape of letters, but she did not understand what the A meant. As of January 2023, Maya could not identify letters, but she could match them one at a time. According to Whistleblower C, the class did the same activities every day. Even though there was little to no variance on a day-to-day basis inside the classroom, no matter how bad Maya's days were, Paula did not allow the EAs to write anything negative in the communication folders to the parents because Paula wanted to be the one to talk to the parents. Because she wanted to control what was communicated to the parents, if Paula tried to write anything other than positive in the communication folders, Paula would change it. Paula eventually shredded Maya's communication folder when a formal educational records request was filed by Maya's father. Whistleblower C witnessed Paula illegally restrain other students in the classroom. Even after Paula in the class was given a refresher training on restraint and seclusions, Paula still used illegal restraints and seclusions. Paula never documented anything, according to Whistleblower C. Even if staff members were injured by students, Paula restricted the EAs from reporting. All right. 159. I do know there's less than 400 points here, so we're close to halfway as far as the points go. But obviously, we still got about 80 more pages. Whistleblower E. Whistleblower E is a current employee of the Eugene District 4J. Whistleblower E worked with Maya in defendant Paula's life skills class at Charlemagne Elementary School. At no point during her tenure as an educational assistant at Charlemagne Elementary School, while on the job or prior to working, was Whistleblower E under the influence of any substance that would impair her perception of reality. Whistleblower E was physically present inside the life skills classroom at Charlemagne Elementary School when she witnessed the abuse. Whistleblower E noted that defendant Paula demonstrated preferential treatment to other students over Maya. In contrast to Paula's treatment of Maya, Whistleblower E observed Maya's behavior was drastically different when a particular staff member worked with her. Maya's responded extremely well to this staff member who gave Maya Bella gentle instructions rather than using aggressive tones that Paula used with her. This staff member made great strides in helping Maya communicate when she was frustrated. Whistleblower E has seen Paula put Maya in the Roundy Round for long periods of time. Whistleblower E did not receive any instructional training or training on illegal restraints and seclusion prior to beginning her work at Charlemagne Elementary School. Whistleblower E described working for Paula as an eye-opening experience, one in which she acknowledged that a lot of things have been going wrong and she will need to spend some time unlearning the illegal practices she learned from Paula, such as holding children down in chairs, using her leg to restrain a child to the chair, and not putting kids in the Roundy Round for disciplinary reasons. Whistleblower E said that Paula secluded children in the Roundy Round to give a child a timeout if their behavior wasn't adequate by Paula's definition. Whistleblower E said that the use of the Roundy Round was excessive, in particular with Maya Bella. She would hold Maya in the device for long periods of time while Maya would jump up and down, spitting in protest and crying because she was clearly trying to express her frustration, but Paula ignored her. According to Whistleblower E, the Roundy Round was taller than Maya Bella, and Paula would completely enclose Maya inside of it. In light of many reports of abuse by staff members who personally witnessed Paula abuse multiple children with special needs, the district thought a refresher course was the appropriate corrective measure. According to Whistleblower E, the only change that Paula made after the refresher course was that Paula no longer completely closed the Roundy Round on Maya, but still prevented her from being able to escape the closed space. Whistleblower E said the Roundy Round was in a hallway out of the eyesight of everyone else. Walking past the hallway, you wouldn't be able to see Maya, but you would see her jumping up and down when she was in distress. While Maya was crying in distress, Paula would sit down in front of her, intentionally ignoring Maya's cries of distress. Maya could see Paula intentionally ignoring her no matter how loud she screamed. Whistleblower E said she was under the impression that parents knew about the way the Roundy Round. That's supposed to be used. She was surprised and really upset when she found out that the parents had no idea about the seclusion torture device. Whistleblower E witnessed defendant Paula inappropriate kiss other children with special needs. She reports being shocked that it happened right in front of her. Despite her never receiving training from the district on protocols or procedures, she knew that was not right. Whistleblower E told the principal about this incident. No corrective or disciplinary action was taken. When asked if she thought the other whistleblowers' testimonies were true, she replied, "I would believe those EAs. They are hard workers and do so much for the kids." Whistleblower E told defendant Mike Ingram about the incident during the district's internal investigation. He took notes. In spring 2023, Whistleblower E told defendant Joe Hadley, who was the principal at Charlemagne at the time, that the life skills classroom at Charlemagne Elementary was not safe for kids or staff. According to Whistleblower E, working in the life skills classroom at Charlemagne was just keeping them alive in the classroom. There was never any teaching. There was little to no data tracking. None of the EAs were trained on how to take data, and she never saw any of the children IEPs because Paula would not let her. She never knew what to work on with the kids and tried to work with what I could. She stated she felt like she was failing the kids. The district told Whistleblower E during her interview process that she would receive training, but they permitted her to work with no training. In reference to Paula's abuse of Maya, Whistleblower E stated it was more emotional. Paula wouldn't give Maya a reward for behaviors that, when displayed by other children, warranted a reward. Paula was trying to control Maya. Maya's classmates couldn't get access to preferred activities and rewards much easier than Maya. From Whistleblower E's perspective, Paula was definitely discriminating against Maya. Maya Bella knows how to communicate when she's hungry. She knows how to use American Sign Language as well as her augmented and alternative communication device to communicate when she's hungry. When Maya communicated to Paula she was hungry, Paula would simply say no. When asked why Maya was not allowed to eat when she was hungry, Paula would reply, "She should have eaten her lunch." When asked if Maya would have ate if the EAs weren't in the classroom, she responded, "I don't know." The EAs did most of the work inside the classroom, as Paula would routinely neglect her responsibilities, according to Whistleblower E. Paula often blamed her neglect on being too tired. From Whistleblower E's perspective, this is a district issue. In her opinion, 4J feels like a hierarchy where people at the top are covering themselves. She called it a broken system that needs help. There's a constant rotation of jobs, making it impossible for programs to develop continuity within the programs. Sorry, I'm making all these noises in the mic. My bad, guys. It probably sounds horrible, but mouth drying out. We are on page 31. 70 more. Whistleblower F is a former employee of the Eugene School District 4J. Whistleblower F worked with Maya in defendant Paula's life skills classroom at Charlemagne Elementary School as an educational assistant. At no point during her tenure as an educational assistant at Charlemagne Elementary School while on the job or prior to working was Whistleblower F under the influence of any substance that would impair her perception of reality. Whistleblower F was physically present inside the life skills classroom at Charlemagne Elementary School when she witnessed the abuse. Whistleblower F called working as an educational assistant for Paula the worst job I've ever had. Whistleblower F says she was fired shortly after the district complaint was filed against Paula for missing a lot of work. She called it a very strategic firing. Whistleblower A feels the same, as defendant Mariat Basquiat, who worked in the classroom but told the plaintiff's father that this was all just girl drama, was hired at the same time and missed a similar amount of work as Whistleblower F, but was not fired and was given a teaching job at another high school in the district the following school year. Whistleblower F stated nearly everybody who spoke against Paula's abuse no longer works in the classroom with Paula. According to Whistleblower F, the district tried to resolve reports of abuse with more training, but Paula continued to restrain children in chairs after the training. Whistleblower F, who also didn't receive training before starting the job, felt it was wrong to physically hold kids in chairs, but it wasn't until right before her firing that she found out that it was illegal to restrain children in chairs. Defendant Paula would get so pissed off if EAs wouldn't do what she wanted. Whistleblower F stated that she would go to work in fear. Paula would publicly embarrass and yell at her in front of her coworkers. According to Whistleblower F, another EA tried to talk to someone in administration because Paula made her cry from publicly scolding in front of everyone. The district had her sign paperwork and return to the classroom. Whistleblower F heard Paula say fuck in front of the children at school. Whistleblower F says other staff members saw things that Paula did, but they never said anything. Paula would get so angry that she would hit herself in the face, according to Whistleblower F. Whistleblower F said she was shocked at Paula's barbaric treatment of the kids. Whistleblower F stated that Paula targeted Maya. Paula would force Maya to sit in her seat and intentionally agitate Maya. Whistleblower F said that she specifically told defendant Joe Hadley that the Roundy Round should not be used as punishment. When Maya was trapped inside the Roundy Round, she would stoop down on the ground and cry, and Paula would sit in her chair and ignore her, according to Whistleblower F. In defiance of Paula, Whistleblower F noted that while inside the Roundy Round, Maya would spit over the walls of the Roundy Round, and Paula would force her to wipe her spit up off the floor and send her back into the Roundy Round. About the Eugene School District 4J, Whistleblower F said they were saying it was okay to do this to these kids. After her firing, Whistleblower F said she never wanted to leave Paula alone with the kids. Whistleblower F witnessed Paula getting physical with a male student, such as stomping on their foot as hard as she could and dragging another by his arm so hard that she thought Paula might rip the kid's arm out of the socket. According to Whistleblower F, Paula would intentionally incite the children. There was one kid in particular that would harm herself if she did not get her designated snack at a certain time. Paula would intentionally not give this child her snack, and then the child would proceed to harm herself. Whistleblower F never saw an IEP the entire time she worked there, and Paula 100% would not let the EA see the IEPs. No one saw anything in their IEPs. Those are quotes from Whistleblower F. While Whistleblower F worked for the district, there was no curriculum in the classroom. Maya was working on eye contact and holding a pen. When told that Maya's IEP said Maya knew 10 to 15 letters, Whistleblower F stated she never saw Maya identify 10 letters. It is Whistleblower F testimony that Whistleblower A did most of the educational work with the children. Paula forced the kids to do the same thing over and over every day with little to no variance in activity, according to Whistleblower F. Due to the monotony of activities and anticipation of her favorite time of day, Maya would get restless around the time recess was about to begin. According to Whistleblower F, that was the main time that Paula sent Maya Bella to the Roundy Round. Maya's screams would be so loud at times that the entire class could hear screams from inside the Roundy Round. In a conversation with defendant Seth Pfeffelin, he confided in her that he had a video of a kid being abused in another classroom, and his solution was more training. No one cares or sees what happens to these kids, Whistleblower F stated when discussing the culture of the district. Abuse is commonplace at Charlemagne. All right. Now let's get into the Roundy Round. According to all whistleblowers, A, B, C, D, E, and F, Maya would be put into the Roundy Round for up to 20 minutes at a time, multiple times a day. The intended purpose of the Roundy Round is to be a tool for emotional regulation. The Roundy Round had the potential to be used as an apparatus. Let me slow down, but this is long. I did good. This took me a month and a half. The Roundy Round had the potential to be used as an apparatus for Maya's sensory processing disorder. The sensation of the carpeted walls would have felt soothing to Maya's fingers if she was allowed to scratch them freely. The heavy weight of the device would have helped Maya feel grounded and aided her in regulating her emotions. There was no doubt that there were aspects of the Roundy Round that Maya would have found desirable and even enjoyable, which is why it's so shocking and appalling that Paula would use a device that Maya enjoyed and turned it into a chamber of torture for the little girl. The Roundy Round was intentionally used as a tool of dysregulation to punish the arbitrary, undesirable behaviors of a young, defenseless girls. Undesirable behaviors that was instigated and exasperated by a trusted government employee for their own sadistic pleasure. First, there was no correlation between Maya's behavior and when she was placed in the Roundy Round. The behavior just had to be undesirable by Paula and committed by Maya. It need not be extreme, nor did it need to be unique to Maya. Other children could display the same behaviors and their punishment would not be the Roundy Round. Sometimes there would be no punishment at all for other children's similar actions. When other children displayed undesirable behaviors, there was redirection, because undesirable behavior was not sufficient to be sent to the Roundy Round. The behavior had to be undesirable by Paula and committed by Maya. For some reason, unknown to any other individual other than herself, this government employee felt the Roundy Round was where Maya needed to spend most of her school days. Therefore, she would invent reasons to send Maya inside. She felt neither the need to ask for permission nor the duty to inform Maya's parents, nor did she need approval of her coworkers who were paid with taxpayer dollars to assist her. With the full support of the district, she had absolute and unchallenged authority to decide the best place for Maya to spend her state-mandated school days were in the Roundy Round. Initially, Paula constantly invented and suspended rules to induce disruptive behaviors in Maya. To drag a black kid into a seclusion room away from her predominantly white classmates and place her into a torture device for no apparent reason would seem too regressive in a community like Eugene, Oregon. Because Paula needed to justify her regressive actions to her well-intentioned EAs, as well as any parent who may get word of this down the line, she needed to appear as if Maya was too disruptive for the other student. She needed Maya to seem like the cause for her own affliction, not infliction. Maya, due to being medically diagnosed as nonverbal, is unable to say the word no, nor does she understand how to shake her head from left to right to indicate disapproval or non-consent. Furthermore, nobody in the classroom other than Paula had access to Maya's IEP. For all they knew, this was part of Maya's behavioral support plan. But Maya never had a behavioral support plan. Paula had free reign to speak to Maya in any type of way to induce disruptive behaviors so that a visit to the Roundy Round was warranted. There was no apparent logical explanation for what Maya was doing wrong because, in fact, sometimes there was nothing she did wrong. Some days a certain behavior would warrant the Roundy Round, another day it wouldn't. Many times, the behavior that was punishable by the Roundy Round was in actuality a response to the antagonistic behavior of Paula. If Maya tried to stand up to this government employee who was given authority over her by the district when said employee mistreated her fellow classmates, she was sent to the Roundy Round until she was silenced. According to the whistleblowers, even with no ability to communicate in English, Paula did not want Maya to use her voice to challenge her authority. There was also no clear corrective behavior Maya could have displayed that would have freed her from the Roundy Round once she was locked inside either. No connection between the severity of the behavior and the time sentence. The EAs could not figure out how to classify the severity of Maya's behaviors so they could at least keep Maya from crossing the line and being sent to the torture device. The line was made indeterminable The line was indeterminable by the EAs because the line was made unpredictable by Paula. If the EAs, who were mostly neurotypical, highly educated adults, could not predict Maya's punishable behaviors, which were determined at Paula's discretion with consistent accuracy, then it was quite literally, with no hyperbole intended, impossible for the young nonverbal autistic girl to comprehend what she did wrong and why she was being put into the Roundy Round. Maya could not learn her lesson from the Roundy Round because there was no lesson to learn. Maya was being tortured and she lacked the mental capacity to comprehend why she was being tortured, all because a state actor deemed the torture necessary. Secondly, the primary use of the Roundy Round for Maya was to be used as a torture device. The Roundy Round is a 48-inch high carpeted space divider that can be coiled into a cylinder for easy transportation. When Maya was in the Roundy Round, she had practically no freedom of movement. While the Roundy Round was coiled around the autistic child's body, she was unable to stretch her arms out to her side. The top of the Roundy Round was either completely above her head or right at her eye level, or right at the eye level of Maya, depending on the school year at the time in which she was put in the torture trap. The only pathway for unnatural light to seep in was through the top of the Roundy Round from the fluorescent lights on the ceilings. There was no way out of the device because Paula stood guard outside the Roundy Round. As Maya looked straight forward, enclosed in the space divider, all she could view was darkness. Paula fixed its closure by using the weight of her entire body to step on the black legs of the device that laid on the floor at the opening of the Roundy Round. One wishes you could call the Roundy Round solitary confinement, but the truth is, any inmate in every state and federal prison in the United States has more freedom of movement in solitary confinement than Maya had in the Roundy Round. There was no educational value or protective use of this device. Sometimes the Roundy Round was not completely enclosed. When Whistleblower C would be ordered by Paula to put Maya in the torture cell, she would uncoil it and have Maya stand within the boundaries of the contraption. She would hold Maya's hands as Maya cried and screamed in distress until she could, with Whistleblower C's assistance, calm down. As a nonverbal autistic person, Maya Bella has always needed assistance regulating her emotions. It's why predictability and routine are so important for those on the spectrum. Paula would randomly dysregulate Maya Bella, then send her to the Roundy Round until she could 1. Process her own dysregulation, 2. Process which arbitrary rule of Paula she had broken, and 3. On her own, while being secluded in a mostly dark area, display proper corrective behaviors that hadn't been clearly determined, defined, or disclosed to either Maya or the EAs. Finally, it should not be lost in the court that while all this is going on, Paula's insatiable and sadistic need to enact torture, EAs filing DHS reports and district complaint, internal investigations and interviews, the Eugene School District's 4J's deliberate attempt to mischaracterize the happenings at Charlemagne Elementary Schools, parents attempting to get information about the abuse of their kids but being stonewalled by HR, and administrative departments in 4J, fraudulent restorative justice circles to deal with workplace drama, Paula's intimidation of staff members, etc. While all these highly complex social situations were happening, Maya Bella had autism. While some evidence of racial discrimination may be present, much more evidence is present that the Roundy Round was a discrimination mechanism meant to take advantage of a young girl who may never be able to comprehend the complexities of what was happening to her due to her being autistic. There is no documentation of a single general ed student being sent to the Roundy Round as a method of restraint or seclusion, as a safety measure, or as a disciplinary measure. The only students subjected to the Roundy Round were, in fact, students with IEPs, and according to the witnesses, Maya Bella Reed received far more exposure to the diabolical machine than any other child with IEPs at no fault than her own. She was simply autistic in the wrong place at the wrong time. That wrong place just so happened to be a place funded by her mother and father's tax dollars. The Eugene School District 4J used taxpayers' dollars to purchase a space divider that they converted into a seclusion cell to torture taxpayers' children. When Maya first began to be exposed to the Roundy Round in early 2022, she exhibited unusually aggressive behaviors at home, particularly towards the women who cared for her, her mother and stepmother. Randomly, with no apparent or consistent triggers, Maya would get a deadpan look on her face and attack these women with violent scratches. She did not appear angry, nor did she appear frustrated when she attacked her guardians. There was no emotion on her face at all. The girl who once had an infectious laugh that could be heard 2 rooms away now walked around the house like a zombie, randomly inflicting violence on her caregivers. Her stepmom was genuinely afraid of Maya during this time and constantly felt anxious when being left alone to care for Maya. She screamed in panic when Maya approached her. This time period still haunts Maya's stepmom to this day. When asked during the spring 2022 IEP if Paula had seen these behaviors, she stated that she hadn't, and that although Maya could scratch sometimes, it was not that bad. During the IEP meeting, Paula never disclosed any of the instances she intentionally secluded or restrained Maya. Paula traumatized Maya, and Maya in turn passed that trauma to her beloved family members. Multiple eyewitnesses stated that Maya could spend the majority of a 7-hour day inside the torture chamber. Alone, confused, escalated, and isolated from her friends, Maya missed an incalculable amount of educational, instructional time during the 2 years at Charlemagne Elementary School. Any educational value that Maya might have been obtained while not in the Roundy Round was completely negated by the sheer number of state-induced traumas inflicted by Paula's use of the Roundy Round. So that this complaint cannot be misinterpreted, the Roundy Round has no educational value. Its only purpose was to torture this little girl and others like her. From 2021 to 2023, Maya attended school exactly 370 days, including summer school. Of the 370 days Maya attended school, the whistleblowers reported that Maya spent at least some time in the seclusion cell in 70% of those days. On the days where Maya was secluded in the Roundy Round, it was never just one instance. On days where Maya was secluded, she was secluded anywhere from 3 to 10 times per day, up to 20 minutes at a time. The estimated number of instances in which Maya was illegally restrained and secluded is between 677 and 2,590 times. None of the EAs were trained on restraint and seclusion practices prior to starting work in the classroom, so many of them had no idea they were witnessing illegal behavior. Paula assured them that this is what happens in a life skills class. Paula also forbade documentation and reporting, and the other co-conspiring state employees supported Paula even when reports were made. For no other reason than being autistic in the wrong state-funded institution, Maya potentially missed up to 863 hours of instructional time, or approximately 123 educational days, because that is the amount of time her teachers spent abusing her. Now we get into the timeline. Y'all ready? I'm about to tie all this shit together. And then we get into the claims. Almost halfway done. The timeline of events that revealed the civil conspiracy. In the spring of 2003, the district conducted an internal investigation into the reports of abuse inside the life skills classroom at Charlemagne Elementary. Upon the conclusion of this investigation, nearly all the EAs who reported defendant Paula's abuse were either fired, transferred, forced to resign, and Paula retained her position. Seeing that Paula was returning for the 2023-2024 school year prompted the whistleblowers to reach out to Maya's father out of concern for her safety. Maya's father asked about the allegations of abuse and was repeatedly not giving information concerning her daughter, with the district citing privacy laws prevented them from sharing relevant information regarding Maya's safety. Later, seeking to find out how much Maya's father had learned of the cover-up, the district launched a second external investigation. In October 2023, the district asked Maya's father to come in to be interviewed. He declined. As of January 11, 2024, none of the original complainants or whistleblowers have been asked in for an interview by the external investigator. Now here's the timeline. November 2019. Both Whistleblower A and another EA, whom also has submitted a testimony to be submitted into evidence, alerted defendant Courtney Leonard and Seth about the abusive practices of Paula. The following is an email sent by Whistleblower A dated November 24th, 2019 to Courtney. Hey Courtney, I meant to send you this email earlier, but I've had a busy weekend. Sorry it's come to you late on a Sunday night. I wanted to send you this email about things that I've noticed in the life skills classroom that are a little concerning and sometimes frustrating for me. My purpose of this email is just to bring some things to your attention so that at least you have knowledge of what's going on. All of this information does happen daily, specifically by our classroom teacher. Kissing students and saying I love you, picking up and carrying a student when he doesn't transition smoothly, forcing/holding kids in chairs, taking tokens off token boards as a form of punishment, yelling, being stern with kids. There are a few other frustrations I have as far as the overall function of the classroom goes, but I'm trying to keep an open mind and stay positive. Of course, I'm aware that everything is a work in progress, so hopefully I will see changes in those other areas. I can go into more details on those specific things at a later time if you're interested. For now, I just wanted to bring up what seemed to me to be the most concerning incidents that occur daily in our classroom. Also, I do have a couple of questions that hopefully you can help me understand more clearly. I have been told different things about whether or not it's okay to guide or pull students off their desks. One student in particular likes to crawl on top of desks and lay on them. I've been told by the classroom teachers and our volunteers that I need to guide, lift, or pull her off the desk, even if she's resisting. However, man training just taught me to step back and not touch the student unless they are willingly wanting to get off the desk. Of course, I would do whatever is recommended in that scenario as long as it's legal, but I'm having a hard time understanding what is and isn't allowed because I am being told two very different stories or two very different things. Additionally, I was wondering if we have a safety plan in place for our runner. If so, I don't think I'm aware of it. If we don't have it in place, the man traders told me I should reach out to the administrator or his IEP case manager. I don't know what all goes into a safety plans, but I just wanted to inquire about that. I haven't asked Paula about the safety plan. I just went straight to you about it. I hope that's okay. I hope you find this information helpful, and please know that I'm trying to stay positive. I do still love my job. Thanks for taking the time to read some of my concerns. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them. On or about January 5th, 2023, Whistleblower B speaks to the Charlemagne school counselor about Paula's mistreatment of students. On or about January 12th, 2023, Whistleblower B, per the district's mandatory reporting policy, reports abuse to defendant Joe Hadley. Joe Hadley makes the DHS report for Whistleblower B. 13th, 2023, Whistleblower C files a separate DHS report for a different student who was abused by Paula. Defendant Joe Hadley says this is a witch hunt. On or about January 16, 2023, defendant Joe conducts interviews of the classroom EAs. Whistleblowers E and F are not interviewed. On or about January 20th, 2023, whistleblowers A and C go to defendant Joe Hadley, threaten to resign. The whistleblowers, as well as the rest of the EAs, are forced to have a restorative justice circle with Paula. Defendant Seth and Joe Hadley are present. Whistleblower C submits her letter of resignation. On or about January 22nd, 2023, defendant Seth responds via email to whistleblower C's resignation. Seth included defendant Mike Ingman in this email. On or about January 27, 2023, Seth tries to reach out to whistleblower C again, this time via email or voicemail, On or about February 2nd, 2023, Whistleblower E witnesses the abuse of another child at the hands of Paula. She talks to Joe about this event. Whistle A and D file another DHS report regarding a separate incident involving Paula and Maya Bella. Superintendent Andy Dye is alerted. On or about February 5th, 2023, Whistleblower A, D, and E meet with Melissa Ibarra to discuss the abuse taking place in the life skills class. On or about the first week of February, a second restorative justice circle is had with Paula and the whistleblowers. This time, Rachel Parak is present. On or about February 6, 2023, Whistleblower D files another DHS report about an incident she witnessed on 2/2/23 with Melissa Ibarra. On or about February 8th, 2023, Paula is forced to take man training. On or about February 12th, 2023, whistleblowers A and D talked to Burnett Adderin about events inside the classroom. Bernadette tries to discourage the whistleblowers from filing the district complaint by implying that the entire class would come under investigation, not just Paula. On or about February 20th, 2023, Whistleblower D sends a list of questions to defendant Joe Hadley, attempting to get clarification on the proper procedures and protocols in the life skills classroom. The questions are of things she had been instructed to or trained by Paula to do, and things she had personally witnessed being done in the life skills classroom at Charlemagne. Her questions are as follows. Is straddling a kid an acceptable form of keeping him from moving in the direction you want him to go? Does it make a difference if there is physical contact between the adult's feet and the student? Is it permitted to scoot or drag a student for transport with the adult's foot? Is it allowable to hold kids down in chairs with an adult legs over the student's legs? Is it permitted to push around chairs of seated students for transport when they are unwilling to move? Is it permitted to require children to use wheelchairs to remain in their wheelchair if they are able to and want to get out? Is there a problem with holding students' hands down to avoid behavior? What about holding sleeves? When students resist walking with an adult or drop ragdoll style, should we continue to pull on their arms or should we let them go? Is it okay to hold a student back or up using their clothes? For instance, holding on to a shirt, jacket, or lifting them up by their belt loop or waistband on their pants in order to make them stay, stand, or walk. We got a wagon because it seems to be a gentler way of transporting resisting kids between places. However, is it a problem to be forcing restraint kids into the wagon to remain in the wagon? Would buckling the kids into the wagon be considered confinement? Is there a problem with adults lifting and picking up unwilling kids to put them in chairs, the wagon, the cafeteria bench, etc.? If not, is there a proper lifting technique for the safety of the staff and for the students? Is there a need to avoid using seat belts like the ones in the wagon to keep kids in various types of chairs as they were instructed? There is a problem with this when using the Riften chair. Should sensory items like a body socket be used against the student's will? Is it okay to isolate and confine students with flexible dividers against their will without or what about restricting the circumference of a circled flexible divider, preventing the child's movement, i.e. the Roundy Round? Is it okay to isolate and confine student into a designated enclosed space against their will? Does the duration make any difference? If this is for safety, what is the follow-up? What is the proper process when a restraint is used? Man training taught us that documentation needs to be made. Do staff have a responsibility to ensure restraint documentation happens, or is that an administrative duty? In response to these questions, defendant Joe Hadley told Whistleblower D that these questions were up to the classroom discretions, i.e., Paula had final authority over these matters. On or about February 23, 2023, Whistleblower A files another DHS report about a separate incident involving Paula and another student. March 8, 2023, the whistleblowers, along with another anonymous EA, filed a district complaint against Paula. The official district complaint that launched the 2003 Spring and Turtle investigation reads as follows. We, the EAs from the Charlemagne Elementary School Life Skills Special Education Classroom, are creating this district complaint about the Life Skills Classroom teacher, Paula McCown, in order to make the district aware of the harassment, retaliation, and legal compliance issues that we believe are happening in the classroom daily. We have previously attempted to report what we are concerned are instances of child abuse, improper restraints, lack of restraint documentation, and retaliation towards staff members from the person responsible for leading the class. We believe that when discussing these issues with us, our current Charlemagne administrator has minimized our concerns by suggesting these matters might be addressed as work drama and that all parties are responsible for. We hope this complaint can bring focus onto what we believe is actually misconduct in the classroom. These concerns have been present since approximately November 24th, 2019, and we have documentation of our efforts to report it. However, since the program started in the fall of 2019, our school has gone through 5 principals in the last 4 years. We are concerned that this has made it nearly impossible to have consistent documentation on the classroom teachers' behavior towards students and staff over the years. Concerns were brought up to previous principals with little intervention or documentation as a result, including this year's principal, Joe Hadley. Here's a list of the instances that occur in our classroom on a regular basis and have been consistently occurring since the start of the program in 2019. The classroom teacher yells at students, cusses in front of students using words like shit and piss, kiss students on multiple occasions when a student either greets didn't finish that sentence. Confine students into a separate area of the classroom with a blocked exit or freestanding flexible dividers against their wills. Restrain students in a chair so that the classroom teacher's legs are placed over the student's legs for confinement. Restrain students with the classroom teacher's legs, feet by straddling the student's body on the floor and pressing in from the sides for confinement. Holds students' hands down while the student is trying to get free, uses the sensory body sock against the student's will as a form of restraint, and comments on it being a district-provided straitjacket. Transports students against their wills, picks up students to transport them when they are resisting, pulls on a student's arms when they are resisting, pulls students around the classroom teacher's feet, restraints, holds, and transports students by their clothing. At times causing the student's clothing to come off, stomped on a student's foot multiple times, reciprocating the student's action as a form of punishment, inequitable treatment with favoritism towards students. There is a lot of grace and affection towards some students while other students are unjustly punished in the same situation. Mistreat staffs, yells and cusses at them using words like shit, pissed, and fucked. I'm not gonna put up with this shit. I'm not gonna walk on eggshells around anyone. Other EAs have been told not to help less experienced EAs who ask for help because they need to figure it out themselves. Places staff members with more challenging students or those who are prone to being physically aggressive as a form of punishment and disapproval. When EAs will complain about their duties, injuries, or try to make incident report, the classroom teacher will say things like, if a person feels like they need to report injuries, they shouldn't be working in life skills. And EAs who report things can't be trusted. There have been at least 2 incidents where EAs have done their mandatory DHS reporting who have been taken off the schedule working with those students as a result of mistrust by the classroom teacher. In addition, when EAs have made incident reports because of being injured by students, they have been taken off the schedule with those students because the classroom teacher does not want reports made, and not because of concern for their safety. Has said, I'm not going to give her apprentice schedule, in reference to some EAs being intimidated by working with some of the more aggressive students, even after they sought official accommodations for the job. Other EAs have been instructed by the classroom teacher not to intervene on behalf of the EAs in the above situation when they are being physically attacked by students. The EAs that are less favored or are placed in instances that put them in harm's way more frequently because of their perceived job performance. All the EAs that are contributing to this document has witnessed at least one of these incidents above on more than one occasion. The classroom teacher teaches all the EAs these are behavior management tactics when working with the students as expectations for the job. Examples of this would be expecting EAs to pull students by their arm, confine them in quiet spaces or within enclosed flexible divider, straddling students to restrict their mobility. Even if EAs are uncomfortable with it, they have to do it or they will be subject to retaliation. They are made to feel like they're not doing their job correctly. These concerns from the EAs have also been brought up to Paula McCown directly by some of the EAs about her behavior management tactic. She has changed for a little while or on occasion, but does not change long term. All of the instances have been reported by staff members to DHS and or the principal, Joe Hadley. He seems to be under the impression that not only are these improper restraints okay, but everything regarding behavior management in the classroom is at the teacher's discretion. We have no confidence that our supervisor, Mr. Hatley, gives proper direction to the classroom teacher about working with classified staff. Our man de-escalation training has taught us about the proper restraint techniques that have to be used when a restraint is absolutely necessary, and how each of the restraints need to be followed up with documentation, notifying parents, and debriefing. None of that has ever happened. The classroom teacher regularly states her belief man policies don't apply to life skills. Based on this information, we are concerned that actions in the classroom may violate state laws. Furthermore, not all the EAs have had this training and feel uncomfortable when put in situations that may require it. We want to make clear that the classroom teacher consistently discourages EAs from making proper documentation. We are also not given time during the day to complete this documentation. In addition to all of this, all the EAs are strongly discouraged by the classroom teacher from making incident reports for staff injuries, documenting student behaviors, and making mandated DHS reports to the point where there are punitive and retaliatory actions taken by the EAs that document such things. One example of this is when the classroom had a staff meeting after school following a DHS report that was made by an employee about a concern for one of our students. The classroom teacher scolded the entire group of EAs in the presence of the school nurse, saying things like, "This is unacceptable, this needs to stop, this is opening us up for a discrimination lawsuit." She said making DHS reports isn't good because it builds mistrust with the families. The classroom teachers also said that poverty is different than abuse, so we should ignore signs of neglect. To resolve this complaint, we would like the classroom circumstances and the classroom teacher, Paula McCown, to be reviewed by people who set and enforce the district and state policies and guidelines for treatment of students in the life skills program. We would like 4J policies regarding restraint and seclusions and licensed staff behavior towards classified staff to be enforced in the classroom. It is 4J's responsibilities to ensure a safe learning environment for all students and a safe work environment for staff. As EAs in this classroom, it is our duty to advocate for our nonverbal students and be their voice. We always have their best interests at heart. We appreciate you taking the time to read our concerns. On or about March 9th, 2023, the entire life skills class was forced to do a refresher course in light of their complaint against Paula McCown. Seth Pfefferlin, Paula McCown, Katherine Johnson, Jennifer Annette, Shasta Quigley, and Elizabeth Beckett are present. In this meeting, man trainers answered Whistleblower's D questions that she originally sent to Joe, letting the whistleblowers and other EAs that this was not up to the teacher's discretion, but in fact, many of these practices went against their man training. Paula told the classroom EAs that these rules didn't apply to life skills. On or about March 17th, 2023, Seth transfers Whistleblower A to a different life skills class. Between March 22nd and April 18th, 2023, Mike Eman conducts internal investigation. April 28th, 2023, Mike concludes the internal investigation. Paula retains her position. This is the letter. Whistleblower A, the purpose of this letter is to provide you with information related to the complaint you filed with the superintendent's office on March 8th, 2023. At this time, our investigation has been completed and Human Resources has followed up as appropriate. It is important that you understand that the district investigation is confidential as they directly relate to personnel matters. Although the district is not able to share specific information about the actions taken with employees, I want to assure you that we have worked to address your concerns. The district depends on our community partners, parents, and staff to provide enriching and appropriate learning opportunities and support to students. On behalf of the superintendent's office, I want to thank you for bringing your concerns forward and your collaboration with the investigation. If you are not satisfied with this decision, you may submit an appeal in writing to the superintendent within 10 calendar days of receiving this communication. The appeal may be by letter or email. Describe why the decision is incorrect or insufficient. Describe the remedy being requested and include a copy of the complaint in this response. Sincerely, Mike Eman, Human Resources Administrator, Eugene School District 4J. May 7th, 2023, the whistleblowers and an anonymous EA submit an appeal to Superintendent Andy Dye. No response was given, and Superintendent Andy Dye later said he never received an appeal. Dear Superintendent Day, we are writing to follow up the formal complaint that we submitted on March 9th, 2023 regarding the Charlemagne Life Skills Classroom. On April 28th, 2023, we received the final complaint response from Mike Ingman. However, we would like to submit an appeal. We appreciate that the district conducted an investigation and is taking the situation seriously. Although we understand that privacy limitations prevent us from knowing all the details about personnel matters, we remain uncertain about the steps being taken to address our concerns. We are aware that Paula McCown is still the classroom teacher in the Charlemagne Life Skills program. Although there have been some improvements in the teacher's behavior in the classroom, past experience has shown that these changes are typically short-lived and often followed by an increase in abusive behavior towards students. We request that the Charlemagne Life Skills program be monitored closely if she continues to remain in the classroom. We believe this is necessary to ensure the safety and well-being of the students. Some suggestions we have are implementing cameras in the classroom and conducting frequent check-ins to ensure that protocols are being followed. Ooh, I'm halfway done. We are also concerned that parents have not been informed of what has been happening to their children in the classroom by the classroom teacher. If this is the case, we ask that parents be notified in a timely manner. In order to reach a more satisfactory outcome, we would like our suggestions to be considered and to be notified in as much detail as allowed on the resolution. I have attached the original complaint to this email, including the extra document that outlines our concerns in more details, as well as Mike Ingman's final response. Thank you for your time and consideration. May 16th, 2023. Paula conducts an IEP meeting with Maya's parents. There was no mention of an internal investigation nor safety concerns raised in the classroom. Paula left the meeting having the sentiment reinforced by Paula that Maya and all the other children were completely and totally safe, and no one had ever brought any concerns of safety inside the classroom. August 2nd, 2023. Seth wanted to place another child in the Charlemagne's Life Skills class. However, that child's parents learned about Paula's abusive handling of the children and did not want her child placed in the class. Also, since the child is on the smaller side and had a late birthday, she preferred if her child not start kindergarten until the 2024-2025 school year. Seth placed Karen Akbar in charge of this student's IEP process. Karen emailed the parent denying the abuse allegations directed towards Paula. You are very clear that you do not want your child to attend kindergarten in the fall. I probably can't change your mind, but I can tell you that the program at Charlemagne, which we are currently considering for your child, has mostly 5, 6, 7-year-olds in it, and the teacher is very aware and planful about not having the littles interacting with the 3 older children in the room. Also, I know you've heard and read stories about various life skills classroom, but I strongly assert that these stories are not accurate, and I know Paula, the Charlemagne teacher, would very much welcome your child. August 31st, 2023. Upon finding out Paula was returning to the life skills classroom, whistleblowers A and B alert Maya's father that they have witnessed Maya and other children be abused by Paula. September 1st, 2023. Maya speaks with the new principal on or about September 1st, 2023. Maya speaks with the new principal of Charlemagne Elementary School, defendant Sarah Campbell, about the abuse allegations. She assures him that the classroom is safe and that the other parents are excited about Paula still being the teacher. September 2nd, 2023. Whistleblower F notifies Maya's father that she's witnessed Paula abuse Maya Bella and other children. September 5th, 2023. Whistleblower D and E notifies Maya's father that she's witnessed Paula abuse Maya and other children. September 7th, 2023. Maya's father sends the district a 10-day notice of his decision to take Maya out of the life skills classroom at Charlemagne and requests that the district provides payment for the cost of tuition to place Maya in private school. Those requests are denied. September 14th, 2023. An emergency IEP meeting for Maya is had where several district members who have never previously attended any of Maya's previous IEP meetings attend. In this In this meeting, Maya's father asked every person in attendance if Paula abused Maya Bella, and every single person denied the allegations of abuse and reassured the parents that these allegations were totally out of character for Paula. The district employees present were Seth Pfeffelin, Rebecca Anson, Michelle Dunn, John Boyta, Erica Wolf, Abby Newells Lowe, Jennifer Annette, Sarah Campbell, and Dahlia Thomas. Paula McCown does not attend. It was also discussed how Maya Bella's IEP was falsified by Paula, and no one claimed to work with her could verify any of Maya's presence levels. September 15, 2023, Seth Pfeffelin sends Maya's parents a prior written notice formally denying requests for payment for private school, as well as restating that the classroom is safe and offering Maya's placement at another life skills classroom within the district. On September 7th, the district received an email from Gabe Reed, father, notifying us that he is unilaterally placing Maya Bella in a private school and seeking district payment for those costs. On September 14th, the district held an IEP meeting with both parents present and heard their concerns about the special ed teacher, and therefore they want the district to pay for private school. The district believes the classroom is a safe environment for all students and offer that we can implement the IEP and all services in either the current location at Charlemagne Elementary, or we offer another life skills program at a different elementary school. Extensive parent and team input was obtained at the IEP meeting yesterday. Team members answered questions and shared information. The current IEP was received and discussed. Parents did not share any concerns about the provisions of services, although they did share concerns about the present levels for the academic readiness goals, noting the same present levels statement was used for each goal and had superfluous information in reflection to specific goals. The district considers the parents' request for private school placement, but rejects that because we feel FAPE has been provided and can be provided in a 4J life skills program. The district noted that parents have due process rights as per the procedural safeguards, and they also have the right to homeschool their daughter or to request an inter-district transfer to another district. The district stands ready to serve Maya Bella in a 4J life skills program and to provide assistance with transferring Maya Bella to a different life skills program if parents accept that offer. September 18th, 2023, Maya's father's challenges to prior written notice. This nigga was pissing me off here, I ain't gonna lie. Seth, I don't know if you withheld this information on purpose or because you feel it's irrelevant, but in the prior written notice, you failed to mention the reason we believe FAPE has not been provided is because, 1, the allegation against Maya's teacher of physical, emotional, and verbal abuse against Maya and her classmates. 2, no one on the IEP team could verify Maya's presence levels, specifically Maya knowing 10 to 15 letters and Maya being able to identify numbers up to 5 without the alleged abuser present. I want to remind you, Seth, that under free and appropriate public education for students with disabilities, requirements under the 504 of the Rehabilitation Act of 1973, it is illegal to base individual placements on presumptions. No one on the IEP team could speak to Maya's specific academic levels as outlined in the IEP when I asked for verification and understanding. Although Jen and Becca attempted to present what they thought it meant based on what was done in other classrooms or their work with other students. I also want to remind you that according to the same act, parents must be allowed to examine their students' records when we receive a notification of placement. Therefore, I am formally requesting access to all of Maya Bella's Reed's records from kindergarten to first grade. This includes, but is not limited to, every note taken on Maya's daily work, data collection, progress reports, evaluations, charts, feeding plans as outlined in IEP, AAC progress reports, communication folders with parents, and any test that Maya has taken. I'm requesting the same information from the occupational therapist, John Boyta, as it pertains to Maya's occupational therapy services. I'm requesting the same information from the speech therapist, Rebecca Anson, as it pertains to Maya's speech therapy services. In plain English, if it speaks to Maya's education from kindergarten to first grade, I want access to it. Also, as outlined in the procedural safeguard notice, I am exercising our parental right to an independent educational evaluation at the district expense. Lastly, since we found the last IEP meeting extremely unproductive, I would like to request that the IEP team meet again, this time with Paula McCown present, since according to you, Seth, in the last meeting, no one will be able to speak to Maya's education like her primary teacher. I also want to make sure we're on the same page in understanding that since we formally requested all of Maya's records, it's our parental right to not only receive those in a timely manner, but be able to review them before the next IEP team meeting, as well as you are obligated to provide us with the information necessary to have our daughter independently evaluated at the district expense without unnecessary delay. Gabe. September 25th, 2023, Seth seeks to place Maya Bella at Chavez or Willa Gillespie Elementary School. September 27, 2023, upon receiving the information request and seeing that Charlemagne was marking Maya present 6.5 days when she had never been to school for the 2023-2024 school year, Maya's father physically went up to Charlemagne Elementary School and requested to see her attendance for the year. After a substantial amount of delay for the simple task requested, Eliza Drummond wrote and signed on a printout of Maya's attendance for the school year that she stopped taking Maya's attendance on September 13th, 2023. Sarah Campbell watched over Maya's father for the entire exchange. After the interaction with Maya's father, Eliza was immediately pulled into Principal Campbell's office. It was also revealed that day that Paula shredded the communication folders that would have been physical evidence of her not allowing the EAs to write any negative statements about Maya's classroom experience. October 6, 2023, Maya's fathers with 4 other volunteers hold a protest on the corner of 8th and Franklin. Paula got word of it and cried. I like that part. It wasn't until this event that Paula stopped teaching in the classroom at Charlemagne. October 14, 2023, Whistleblower C notifies Maya's father that she's witnessed Maya and other children have been abused by Paula. On Friday, October 20th, 2023, Lisa Forgebeck reaches out to Maya's father, asking him to come in for an interview with an external investigator, Keith Usury, at 11:12 a.m. Dear Mr. Reed, I wanted to reach out to you to invite you to participate to an interview regarding your student. The district is aware that you have expressed concerns regarding your student's experience while attending Charlemagne French Emergent Elementary School. The district has hired a retired educator to look into the issues and to meet with you to hear your concerns. The retired administrator did not work for the Eugene School District 4J. He spent his career first as a classroom teacher, then as a school principal, and finally as the assistant superintendent for the Willamette Education Service District. His name is Keith Usury, and he has spent his career working with students and families. Would you be available to meet with Keith? Would you be available next week to meet with Keith Usury? I've reserved meeting space at the 4J Education Center, 200 North Monroe Street, Eugene, 97402. Please let me know if one of the following dates and times will work for you to meet with Keith. Monday, October 23rd at 12:30 to 3 p.m. Tuesday, October 24th at 9:30 to 11 a.m. or 10 to 11:30 a.m. or 12 to 1:30 p.m. Wednesday, October 25th at 12:30 to 2 p.m. Please let me know if you're available to meet one of these dates noted above. I look forward to hearing back from you. Should you have any questions or need assistance, please let me know. With being given less than one business day to decide, Maya's father quickly responds to Lisa's email at 3:58 p.m. Hello, Lisa. Thank you for reaching out to me. I have a few questions before I set a meeting. 1, what is the purpose of this interview and what is the desired outcome? Who else is being interviewed? 2, why am I being interviewed? Is this in regard to the email I sent Seth Feflin on September 7th, 2023 about the allegations of abuse of my daughter committed by Paula McCown from the 2022 to 2023? If so, why is 4J waiting till the week of October 23rd to investigate? Also, if that's the case, why is it being looked into for the second time if an internal investigation has already been done? 3, can my lawyer or advocate come to this interview? Thanks in advance for your prompt response. I look forward to hearing from you soon. Monday, October 23rd, 2023. At exactly 1 p.m., 30 minutes after the scheduled time the first scheduled time slot with Keith Usury, Maya's father sends a second email to Lisa, as his first email was never replied to. Hello, Lisa. On Friday, October 20th, 2023 at 11:12 a.m., you sent me an email asking me to schedule an interview with Keith Usury about expressed concerns regarding your student's experience. I promptly returned your email trying to understand the nature of this interview since the email did not state the specific concern that I would be interviewed about. The first available time slot for interview was today, Monday, October 23rd at 12:30 p.m. It is now 12:29 p.m. on Monday, October 23rd. Given the extremely short notice of the interview and the fact that you've not responded to my email, I have reason to believe that neither you nor Andy Dye behaved in a way that demonstrates you are taking my concerns seriously. Given these facts, I will be filing a formal complaint against the district with the district against yourself and Andy Dye for extreme unprofessionalism and workplace bullying tactics, as you only gave me less than 2 business days to respond, and even though I did respond on your unreasonable timetable, you still failed to respond so that I can make the meeting, causing me to miss a part of work today and putting my family in an economically disadvantaged situation. Personally, I don't think Andy ever had the intentions of taking my concerns seriously, as this behavior clearly demonstrates an effort to pressure me into a rash decision, and the fact that Andy has known about the abuse of my daughter for months and has deliberately decided not to take action. Between you and me, it's my opinion that nothing will come of this formal district complaint, but if something does come of it, you'll get the majority of the consequence because your name is on the emails. Andy has established a pattern of keeping his name off of paperwork so that he can deny knowledge of such events, and I believe at the end of all this, Andy will be protected, and you and every person who acts on his behalf or at his discretion will get the bulk of the consequences, hoping for the best possible outcome for all parties involved. Lisa responded to that email at 3:07 p.m., 7 minutes after the first available time slot she provided. Mr. Reed, the intent of my previous email was to provide you with a range of days and times to meet in order to work within your schedule. I have been working to provide response to your questions. However, I did not understand from your last email that you anticipated a meeting today, the first available time offer. I apologize for any confusion caused. To answer your previous question, the purpose of this investigation is to look into allegations of abuse into Ms. McCown's class during the 2022-2023 school year. As you noted, the district conducted an internal investigation in the spring of 2023 based on allegations of abuse and was unable to substantiate the allegations. Since that investigation, however, the same concerns have been raised by you again, such that we feel it necessary to conduct further investigation at this time. For instance, you raised these concerns via email to Seth, but you were not emailed as part of the previous investigation. The district would like to understand the basis for your concerns and assertion whether the previous investigation adequately addressed those concerns. The district's practice is to not release the names of witnesses involved in an investigation, as this can compromise the investigation. Additionally, investigations tend to evolve as witnesses are interviewed, i.e., the investigator may determine it's necessary or not necessary to interview additional witnesses based on a previous witness's statements. We received your concerns on September 7th, 2023, and initiated this investigation after reviewing your concerns as well as the results of the previous investigation. Contrary to your assertions, the district takes this matter very seriously and is actively investigating. You are welcome to bring an attorney or advocate with you to meet with Keith. However, I want to make it clear that you are not under investigation. If you are available to meet with Keith this week, please let me know if one of the following dates and times will work for you. Tuesday, October 24th, 9:30 to 11 a.m. or 10 to 11:30 a.m. or 12 to 1:30 p.m. Wednesday, October 25th, 12:30 to 2 p.m. If you do want to move forward with an interview and the dates and times noted above does not work for you, I would be happy to review calendars and propose new dates or times. As the filing for a formal complaint, the tool that is available to you can be accessed via the following link. Attached to this email, you will find the district's complaint policy and uniform complaint procedure. Please let me know if you have any questions or need further assistance. Maya's father responded to Lisa's email at 4:54 p.m., concluding that the district was not handling the child abuse accusation in a serious why did I say and? In a serious, effective, or professional way. Lisa, I will not be participating in your interviews. You can inform me of the results of the investigation when you have them. As of January 11th, 2024, Lisa nor anyone else within the district has informed Maya's parents about the results of the interviews. November 11th, 2023, after finding out about the Roundy Round through Maya's TikTok, another parent with a child in the life skills classroom at Charlemagne Elementary confronted Katherine Johnson about the abuse. From the parents' perspective, she appeared to be shocked at the news, although she was at the March 9th meeting. November 13th, 2023, Sarah Campbell spends over an hour with a couple sets of parents who were outraged when they heard about the Roundy Round. She appears to have little knowledge of the situation, even though she had at least 3 conversations with Maya's father about the allegations and were present at the 9/14/23 IEP meeting. We confronted her with all the information, and from the look on her face and her demeanor, I don't think she was privy to all the allegations towards Paula. I asked how far the investigation went up, were the police contacted, was DHS contacted. All she could say is she believes the state was notified, but she didn't know any other details. December 5th, 2023, Maya's father challenges Charlemagne's elementary school, calls Charlemagne Elementary Schools to unenroll. Let me slow down. Let me get water. Hang on. Almost at the end. December 5th, 2023, Maya fathers call Charlemagne Elementary School to unenroll from Charlemagne and enroll her in homeschool. Eliza Drummond tells her father that Maya was dropped September 8th, 2023, the first day of school, for non-attendance. This contradicted what she signed on September 27, 2023, saying that she stopped taking attendance for Maya on 9/13/23. December 13th, 2023, Whistleblower A and B, who are current employees at 4J, confirmed that Paula was being allowed to retire quietly. Her final day in the classroom was October 6, 2023, the day of the protest. December 14th, 2023, defendant Marriott revealed in a conversation with Maya's father that Paula did in fact seclude Maya, but restated the district's opinion that this was all just workplace drama. Now let's get to the claims. Claim 1. Discrimination in violation of Section 504 of the Rehabilitation Act of 1973. Plaintiff incorporates by reference allegations of all preceding paragraphs. Section 504 of the Rehabilitation Act of 1973 states, no otherwise qualified individual with a disability in the United States as defined by Section 705(20) of this title shall solely by the reason of his or her disability be excluded from participation in, be denied benefits of, or be subjected to discrimination under any program or activity receiving federal financial assistance. Defendant Eugene School District 4J has received substantial federal financial assistance at all relevant times. Plaintiff Maya Bella is a qualified individual with a disability within the meaning of Section 504 of the Rehabilitation Act. At all relevant times, the Roundy Round was only used as a disciplinary measure for students with disabilities. At all relevant times, not a single non-disabled student was sent to the Roundy Round. The defendant, Eugene School District 4J, and Paula McCown intentionally discriminated against Maya Bella and other children with disabilities when she sent Maya to the Roundy Round, resulting in a less than satisfactory educational experience. Claim 2. Intentional infliction of emotional distress. Plaintiff incorporates by reference the allegations of all preceding paragraphs. To state the claim for intentional infliction of emotional distress, IIED, in Oregon, a plaintiff must show that 1. The defendant intended to inflict severe emotional distress on the plaintiff. 2. The defendant's acts were the cause of the plaintiff's severe emotional distress. And 3. The defendant's acts constituted an extraordinary transgression of bounds of socially tolerable conduct. At all material times, every action taken by defendant Paula was supported and promoted by defendant Eugene School District 4J. As noted by defendant Seth prior written notice, the district believes the classroom is a safe environment for all students and offers that we can implement the IEP in all services in either the current location at Charlemagne Elementary. The district considered the parents' request for private school placement, but rejects that because we believe faith has been provided and can be provided in a 4J life skills program. When the defendant withheld food from Maya, she intended to inflict severe emotional distress. When the defendant withheld food from Maya, she did, in fact, cause severe emotional distress as observed by whistleblowers and other classroom EAs. Withholding food from a mentally disabled child, Maya, at a public school constitute an extraordinary transgression of the bounds of socially tolerable conduct. When the defendant placed Maya Bella inside the Roundy Round on at least 600 separate occasions, she intended to inflict severe emotional distress. When the defendant placed Maya Bella inside the Roundy Round on at least 600 separate occasions, it did in fact cause severe emotional distress to Maya, as observed by the whistleblowers and other EAs. Using the Roundy Round as a torture device on a mentally disabled child, Maya, at a public school constitute an extraordinary transgression of the bounds of socially tolerable conduct. Every instance Maya was placed in the Roundy Round was the intentional infliction of emotional distress. Claim 3. Negligent infliction of emotional distress. Plaintiff incorporates references all allegations of all preceding paragraphs. The analysis of a claim for negligent infliction of emotional distress thus proceeds in 3 steps. First, we must determine whether the complaint alleges the violation of a legally protected interest. Second, we must determine whether such interest is of sufficient importance as a matter of public policy to merit protection from emotional impact. And third, we must determine whether the complaint alleges that the emotional distress was a foreseeable result of the violation of the legally protected interest. In Philibert versus Clusar, the court observed that the legally protected interest may be reflected in a statute designated to protect the plaintiffs from the type of emotional harm that occurred. The defendant, Eugene School District 4J, violated Maya's legally protected interest as outlined in Statute OAR 581-021-0556. Following an incident involving the use of restraint or seclusion, the following must be provided to a parent or guardian of the student. A. Verbal or electronic notification of the incident by the end of the school day when the incident occurred. B. Written notification of the incident within 24 hours of the incident that provides A. A description of the restraint or seclusion, including 1. The date of the restraint and seclusion. 2. The times the restraint and seclusion began and ended. 3. The location of the restraint and seclusion. B. A description of the student's activity that prompted the use of restraint and seclusion. C. The efforts used to de-escalate the situation and alternatives to restraint and seclusions that were attempted. D. The names of personnel of the public education program who administered the restraint. E. A description of the training status of the personnel of the public education program who administered the restraint and seclusion, including any information that may be provided to the parent or guardian under subsection 3 of this rule. C. Timely notification of the briefing meeting to be held and of the parents or guardian's right to attend that meeting. Had the district notified Maya's parents after the first time Maya was restrained and secluded inside the Roundy Round, they would have never allowed her to be placed inside the torture trap subsequently. OAR 581-021-0056 is sufficient importance as a matter of public policy to merit protection from emotional impact. Because the defendant violated OAR 581-021-0056, the parents were unable to intervene and advocate on behalf of their daughter, which caused her to experience further emotional distress. Subsequent uses of the Roundy Round that was a foreseeable result of the violation of the legally protected interest. Every occasion where the defendant did not notify the parents of the plaintiff being restrained and secluded was a negligent infliction of emotional distress to the plaintiff. Claim 4. False imprisonment of a minor. Plaintiff incorporates by reference the allegations of all preceding paragraphs. False imprisonment is the imposition of an unlawful restraint upon another's freedom of movement. The restraint need not be more than for a brief period of time. The Restatement of Law of Torts, subsection 35 states, false imprisonment, 1. An actor is subject to the liability to another for false imprisonment if A, he acts intending to confine the other or a third person within the boundaries fixed by the actor, and B, his act directly or indirectly results in such confinement of the other, and C, the other is conscious of the confinement or is harmed by it. Subsection 36, what constitutes confinement? 1. To make an actor liable for false imprisonment, the other's confinement within the boundaries fixed by the actor must be complete. 2. The confinement is complete, although there is reasonable means of escape unless the other knows about it. 3. The actor does not become liable for false imprisonment by intentionally preventing another from going to a particular direction in which he has the right or privilege to go. The defendant intended to confine Maya inside the Roundy Round. The defendant acts directly led to the confinement of Maya Bella. Maya Bella was conscious during the confinement and was harmed by it. The boundaries of the Roundy Round were fixed by the defendant and were complete. Every instance where Maya was placed in the Roundy Round was an act of false imprisonment. Claim 5, illegal use of restraint and seclusion. Plaintiff incorporates by reference all allegations of all preceding paragraphs. ORS 339.291 states, restraint and seclusions may not be used for discipline, punishment, retaliation, convenience of personnel, contractors, or volunteers of a public education program. 2A, restraints may be used on a student in a public education program only under the following circumstances. A, the student's behavior imposes a reasonable risk of imminent and substantial physical or bodily harm to the student and or others, and B, less restrictive measures will not be effective. B, seclusion may be used on a student in a public education program only under the following circumstances. A, the parent's behavior imposes a reasonable risk of imminent and seriously bodily harm to the students and others, and less restrictive intervention would be effective. ORS 339.288 states, the use of the following type of restraints on a student in a public education program is prohibited. E, any restraint that involves the intentional or non-incidental use of a solid object, including a wall or floor, to impede a student's movement, unless the restraint is necessary to prevent imminent life-threatening injury or to gain control of a weapon. The defendant primarily used the Roundy Round in an illegal way for discipline, punishment, retaliation, or convenience of personnel against the plaintiff. The Roundy Round is an illegal restraint and seclusion device according to ORS 339.288. Every instance where Maya was placed in the Roundy Round was the use of an illegal restraint of seclusion device used in an illegal way and inflicted severe emotional damage to the plaintiff as observed by the whistleblowers and EAs. Claim 6, illegal use of a seclusion cell. Plaintiff incorporates by reference all allegations of all preceding paragraphs. ORS 339.308 states, 1, as used in this section, a public education program means a program that A, is for students in early childhood education, elementary school, or secondary school. B, is under the jurisdiction of a school district, an educational service district, or another educational institutional program. And C, receives and serves students who receive and support in any form from any program supported directly or indirectly with funds appropriated to the Department of Education. B, seclusion cell means a freestanding, self-contained unit that is used to A, isolate a student from other students, or B, physically prevent a student from leaving the unit or cause the student to believe that the student is physically prevented from leaving the unit. 2, a public education program may not A, purchase, build, or otherwise take possession of a seclusion cell, or B, use a seclusion cell. The Roundy Round is a seclusion cell as described by the whistleblowers and defined by ORS 339.308. The defendant placed the plaintiff inside the seclusion cell, causing damage to her as observed by the whistleblowers and the EA. Every instance where Maya was placed in the Roundy Round was the prohibited use of a seclusion cell. Claim 7. Failure to report restraints and seclusions. Plaintiff incorporates by reference allegations of all preceding paragraphs. OAR 581-021-0559 states, each entity that has jurisdiction over a public education program must prepare and submit to the superintendent of public instruction an annual report detailing the use of physical restraints and seclusion for the preceding school year, including, at a minimum, A, the total number of incidents involving physical restraint, B, the total number of incidents involving seclusion, C, the total number of seclusions in a locker room, D, the total number of students placed in physical restraints, E, the total number of students placed in seclusion, F, the total number of seclusion rooms available, and a description including the locations of the room designated solely for seclusion, G, the total number of incidents that resulted in injuries or death to students or personnel as a result of the use of physical restraint or seclusion. H, the number of students who were placed in physical restraint or seclusion more than 10 times in the course of a school year, and an explanation of what steps have been taken by the public education program to decrease the use of physical restraint and seclusion for each student. The number of incidents in which the personnel of the public education administering physical restraint or seclusion were not trained. J, the demographic characteristics of all students upon whom physical restraint and seclusion were imposed, including race, ethnicity, gender, disability status, migrant status, English proficiency, and status as an economically disadvantaged, unless the demographic information was revealed personally identifiable information about an individual student. During the plaintiff's kindergarten year 2021-2022, the district only reported 16 restraints and 3 seclusions. The district reported during the 2021-2022 school year that only 2 female students were restrained and 0 were secluded, and reported 14 male students were restrained and 0 male students were secluded. 0 non-binary students were restrained or secluded. The district failed to report any of the plaintiff's restraints or seclusions during her kindergarten year. The defendants intentionally misrepresented the restraint and seclusion numbers during the plaintiff's kindergarten year, as evident from the whistleblower's testimony that Paula forbade data keeping or reporting. During the plaintiff's first year, 2022-2023, the district reported only 23 restraint incidents and 1 seclusion incident. The district reported during the 2022-23 school year that only 6 female students were restrained and 1 female student was secluded, and reported 17 male students were restrained and 0 male students were secluded. 0 non-binary students were restrained or secluded. The district failed to report any of the plaintiff's restraints or seclusion during her first grade year. The defendant intentionally misrepresented the restraint and seclusion numbers during the plaintiff's first grade year, as evidenced by the whistleblower's testimony that Paula forbade from data keeping or reporting. Due to the defendant's intentionally misrepresenting restraint and seclusion numbers, significant damage was inflicted upon the plaintiff. Claim 8, Eighth Amendment violation. Plaintiff incorporate by reference allegations of all preceding paragraphs. The plaintiff is aware that per the United States Supreme Court ruling in Ingram v. Wright, 1977, typically the Eighth Amendment is not applied to cases brought against school districts. The plaintiff is also aware that historically the Eighth Amendment is applied to criminal rights, and typically the conviction of a crime is needed before Eighth Amendment violations are considered. However, material facts of this complaint warrant the application of the Eighth Amendment, because the most natural interpretation of the Eighth Amendment is that the state cannot enact cruel and unusual punishment against its citizens. Since Maya Bella is a citizen of the United States and the defendants in this case are a state entity and state actors, and the punishment would be deemed cruel and unusual by every stretch of the imagination, the Eighth Amendment is applicable. Firstly, The United States Supreme Court has held both the interpretation and the application of the Eighth Amendment operate on the evolving standards of decency. The basic concept of the underlying of the Eighth Amendment is nothing less than the dignity of man. This court has had little occasion to give precise content to the Eighth Amendment, and in an enlightened democracy such as ours, this is not surprising. But the court has recognized that the words of the Eighth Amendment are not precise and that their scope is not static. The amendment must draw its meaning from evolving standards of decency that mark the progress of a maturing society. At the time of Ingram versus Wright, only 2 states prohibited corporal punishment in public schools. Today, 47 years after the court's ruling, 34 states have prohibited corporal punishment in schools, including Oregon in 1989. 4 other states have prohibited corporal punishment specifically against children with special needs. Still, 2 more states have not prohibited corporal punishment at the state level. However, every public school district within those states have banned corporal punishment, and 3 states have not banned corporal punishment but have no reported use of corporal punishment. Today, 43 out of 50 states agree, either through enforced legislation or standard practices, educators do not have the right to use corporal punishment to curb undesired behaviors in students. This marks the evolving standards of decency. In 1977, corporal punishment of students were commonplace. Now in 2024, it is virtually unimaginable that a teacher uses corporal punishment against a minor, let alone one that is nonverbal and autistic. If there were no other facts, then the defendant was a teacher, and that said teacher punished a small autistic student by repeatedly, intentionally, and continuously confining them in a space that restricted them from any freedom of movement while attending a publicly funded institution. A case can be made for the application of cruel and unusual punishment, as corporal punishment is not only totally rejected by our current societal standards, but our society goes above and beyond both legislatively and socially to protect the community's most vulnerable population of the United States of America, the children with special needs. This is not just a case where a student had their freedom of movement intentionally restricted by a teacher. The material facts is that the plaintiff, Maya Bella Reed, is nonverbal and autistic. The courts have traditionally ruled that against the inherent cruel nature of giving intellectually disabled individuals the same punishment as non-intellectually disabled individuals. The Supreme Court's decision holding both juveniles and intellectually individuals to be ineligible for execution rests entirely on this assertion. Intentionally dysregulating a nonverbal child on the spectrum is by every definition of the word cruel. Then punishing that autistic child for being dysregulated, even though they were not the cause for their dysregulation, by secluding them from their peers and restricting their freedom of movement is both cruel and unusual. This process was repeated nearly every day for several hundred school days, while both documentation and notification of parents were expressly forbidden at all relevant times. This can only be done because of an extreme abuse of power that took advantage of Maya Bella's disabilities. She had no way of defending herself, and every defendant in this case is aware of that fact. For years, Maya Bella was treated subhuman simply for being autistic. The plaintiff asserts the protection from being treated like a non-human and from the abuse of government power is embedded in the Eighth Amendment. The plaintiff should not be required to commit and be convicted of a crime before she gets the protection afforded to her by the Eighth Amendment, especially when her mens rea would be immensely difficult for any judge or jury to determine. The true significance of these punishments is that they treat members of the human race as non-humans, as objects to be toyed with and discarded. They are thus inconsistent with the fundamental premise of the clause that even the vilest criminal remains a human being possessed of common human dignity. Finally, there is no explicit language in the Eighth Amendment that requires the courts to only apply the amendment to only criminals or bars the courts from applying the Eighth Amendment to civil proceedings. Excessive bail shall not be required, nor excessive fines imposed, nor cruel and unusual punishment inflicted. It's heavily implied that the state cannot enact these punishments on its citizens. The natural reading of the Eighth Amendment is excessive bail shall not be required by the state against its citizens, nor excessive fines imposed, nor cruel and unusual punishment. The defendants in this case, at all material ties to this case, are state actors acting under the color of the law. The main defendant, Eugene School District 4J, is a public entity that receives public funding. If there were any question to whether the defendants are state actors, then consider that ORS 30.275 tort claim notice statute required the plaintiffs to send a tort claim notice to the defendant, Eugene School District 4J, before any civil action could commence. Tort claim notices are required to commence actions brought against a public body. A public body, as defined by ORS 174.109, means state government bodies, local government bodies, and special government bodies. The plaintiff fulfilled this duty when she sent a tort claim notice by email to Superintendent Andy Dye, first class mail, and priority mail to the district's main office address on November 29th, 2023. Eugene School District 4J is an entity of the state, and all defendants as employees or representatives at all material times were acting as state actors. When the defendants used the Roundy Round torture device on the plaintiff, the state was executing cruel and unusual punishment against the plaintiff. As noted earlier in the complaint, while inside the Roundy Round, the plaintiff received less freedom of movement than every inmate in every state and federal penitentiary in the country. The nonverbal autistic child was treated worse than a criminal and endured extreme psychological and emotional torture at the hands of state actors because she was nonverbal and autistic. The state, due to her disability, treated Maya Bella Reed like a subhuman object. Every instance the defendant placed the plaintiff inside the Roundy Round violated the plaintiff's Eighth Amendment constitutional right. Claim 9, conspiracy to misrepresent restraints and seclusion. Plaintiff incorporates by reference all allegations of preceding paragraphs. Under Oregon law, a civil conspiracy is not an independent tort. Rather, it is the theory of mutual agency under which the acts of each conspirators are imputed to other members for the purpose of tort liability. The joint liability that arises from the acts of others is predicated on an agreement or meeting of the minds to accomplish an unlawful purpose, or a purpose that is not in itself unlawful by unlawful means, that results of an injury to another. Under Oregon law, the elements of a civil conspiracy are 1, 2 or more persons, 2, an object to be accomplished, 3, a meeting of the minds on the object or course of action, 4, one or more unlawful overt acts, and 5, damages as proximate result thereof. Section 876 of the Restatement of Torts, of the Second Restatement of Torts, sets out 3 ways in which a person acting in concert may be held accountable for each other's torturous conducts. For harm resulting to a third person from the torturous conducts of another, one is subject to the liability if A, does a torturous act in concert with the other person in pursuant to a common design with him, or B, knows that the other conduct constitutes a breach of duty and gives substantial assistance or encouragement to others to conduct himself, or C, gives substantial assistance to the other in accomplishing the torturous result, and his own conduct separately considered constitutes a breach of duty to the third person. The conspiracy to intentionally misrepresent the restraint and seclusion numbers in the Eugene School District 4J is a current ongoing conspiracy within the district. As stated by all the whistleblowers, there is a standard of not reporting restraints and seclusions. This is why when defendant Courtney was alerted of Paula's illegal behavior in 2019, no action was taken. The standard practice within the district, as evidenced in the preceding paragraphs, is to 1, take as little documentation of restraint and seclusion as possible, 2, to ensure parents and staff that the classrooms are safe by verbally expressing and documenting the district's proactive attitudes towards taking allegations of abuse seriously. But 3, then never taking any disciplinary measures towards abusers. The conspiratorial acts are acts of omission, not documenting restraints and seclusions, not training their staff, withholding known information about allegations of abuse of children because of the need to protect teachers' personal information. Andy died saying he never received an appeal when he in fact did. Combined with deceitful language that never admits faults but makes the listener or reader assumes that the allegations are false, or a co-conspirator is either not aware of the allegations, such as when Maya's father asked all the defendants present at the 9/14 IEP meeting, "Did Paula abuse my daughter?" To which they all stated either "I believe the classroom is safe" or "I haven't seen her do anything that looks like abuse." Or when Sarah Campbell told a group of parents in November 2023 that she was unaware of the allegations, even though she had several conversations with Maya's fathers about Paula's abuse, including being part of the 9/14/23 IEP meeting where Paula's abuse was discussed at length. These are deliberate, unlawful acts of omission. Every defendant had firsthand knowledge of the abuse, had the abuse reported to them by a 4J employee per the mandatory reporting law, or was debriefed by one of the co-conspirators about the abuse allegations. The conspiracy is the culture of the district, and the culture persists even if there are no bad actors currently abusing children. Had Courtney or others acted in 2019 when Paula's abusive behaviors first appeared, the plaintiff would have never been injured in any way. The conspiracy to misrepresent restraint and seclusion numbers is why Paula told her staff on several occasions not to report and why she scolded them when they did. The purpose of this conspiracy is to avoid more lawsuits. The district has a documented history of taking illegal actions against students with special needs. By intentionally not creating evidence of restraints and seclusions, i.e. documentation, it makes it hard and even practically impossible for parents to get their children justice. However, unlawful acts of omission are still unlawful. All defendants had an obligation to ensure that the restraint and seclusion numbers were represented accurately, but through each of their unlawful acts of omission, the restraint and seclusion numbers were misrepresented. All defendants by either 1. Telling parents that the classroom were safe, 2. Discouraging the whistleblowers from reporting, 3. Making false or misleading statements to give the illusion of ignorance or innocence, 4. Failing to speak up themselves, and or 5. Failing to take appropriate and reasonable corrective measures upon receiving allegations of abuse, gave substantial assistance to Andy Dye, the district, and Paula McCown to represent restraint and seclusion numbers. Had they been represented accurately, the plaintiff would have not suffered any harm. Claim 10. A civil conspiracy to falsely imprison a minor. The first two paragraphs of the next few are going to be the same, so I'm not going to read them. So I'm going to skip down here to 340. All defendants had a duty to do the right thing and immediately put it into Paula's false imprisonment of the plaintiff, but their actions and unlawful acts of omission led to further harm against the plaintiff. Claim 11, conspiracy to discriminate in violation of Section 504 of the Rehabilitation Act of 1973. It says down here, due to all the defendant's acts and unlawful acts of omission, the plaintiff suffered daily discrimination due to her disability and damaged her ability to have a satisfactory educational experience. Claim 12, same thing. Due to all the defendant's acts of all the defendant's actions and unlawful acts of omission, the plaintiff suffered severe emotional damage as observed by the whistleblowers and EAs. Claim 13, conspiracy to negligently inflict emotional damage. Same thing. Due to all the defendant's actions and unlawful acts of omissions, the plaintiff suffered unnecessary emotional damage as observed by the whistleblowers and EA. Claim 14, conspiracy to illegally use restraint and seclusion. Same thing. Due to all the defendant's actions and unlawful acts of omission, the plaintiff was illegally restrained and secluded at least 600 times, and she suffered public shame, embarrassment, and humiliation and anxiety. Claim 15, conspiracy to use a seclusion cell. Due to all the defendant's actions and unlawful acts of omission, same thing up here, the plaintiff was placed in a seclusion cell at least 600 times and suffered greatly. Claim 16, conspiracy to violate the Eighth Amendment. Due to all the defendants' actions and unlawful acts of omissions, the plaintiffs had her Eighth Amendment violated at least 600 times. Here we go, baby. Here's the part everyone wants to talk about. Prayer for relief. Plaintiff requests a jury trial. Wherefore, Plaintiff Gabriel Reed, as next of friend to Maya Bella Reed, prays for judgment against the defendants, and each of them as follows. A. Defendant Paula McCown. A. For at least 600 counts of false imprisonment of Maya Bella Reed, $4,315,308 in non-economic damages. B. For discriminating against Maya Bella in violation of Section 504 of the Rehabilitation Act of 1973, $2.5 million in non-economic damages. For at least 600 counts of the intentional infliction of emotional distress of Maya Bella Reed, $2,478,214.79 in non-economic damages. For at least 599 counts of the negligent infliction of emotional distress of Maya Bella Reed, $2,027,630.29 in non-economic damages. For at least 600 counts of the illegal restraint and seclusion of Maya Bella Reed, $2,157,654 in non-economic damages. For her role in the conspiracy to intentionally misrepresent restraint and seclusion numbers against Maya Bella Reed, $600,000 in non-economic damages. For her role in the conspiracy to commit false imprisonment against the plaintiff, $600,000 in non-economic damages. For at least 600 counts of failure to notify parents of restraint and seclusion of Maya Bella Reed, as outlined in OAR 581-021-0559, $1,044,536.81 in non-economic damages. For violating Maya Bella's Eighth Amendment right, $1.8 million in non-economic damages. For her role in the conspiracy to intentionally inflict emotional damage to Maya Bella, $600,000 in non-economic damages. For her role in the conspiracy to negligently inflict emotional damage to Maya Bella Reed, $600,000 in non-economic damages. For her role in the conspiracy to illegally use restraint and seclusion methods on Maya Bella Reed, $600,000 in non-economic damages. For her role in the conspiracy to trap Maya Bella inside a seclusion cell, $600,000 in non-economic damages. For her role in the conspiracy to violate Maya Bella's Eighth Amendment, $600,000 in non-economic damages. For her role in the conspiracy to discriminate against Maya Bella Reed in violation of Section 504 of the Rehabilitation Act of 1973, $600,000 in non-economic damages. Defendant Eugene School District 4J. For at least 600 counts of the false imprisonment of Maya Bella Reed, $69,044,928 in non-economic damages. For discriminating against Maya Bella in violation of Section 504 of the Rehabilitation Act of 1973, $40 million in non-economic damages. For at least 600 counts of the intentional infliction of the emotional distress of Maya Bella Reed, $39,651,456 in non-economic damages. For at least 599 counts of the negligent infliction of emotional distress of Maya Bella Reed, $32,496,288 in non-economic damages. For at least 600 counts of the illegal restraint and seclusion of Maya Bella Reed, $34,522,464 in non-economic damages. For its role in the conspiracy to intentionally misrepresent restraint and seclusion numbers against Maya Bella Reed, $4.8 million in non-economic damages. For its role in the conspiracy to commit false imprisonment of Maya Bella Reed, $4.8 million in non-economic damages. For at least 600 counts of failure to notify parents of restraint and seclusion of Maya Bella, as outlined in OAR 581-021-0559, $16,712,544 in non-economic damages. For at least 600 uses of a seclusion cell against Maya Bella Reed, $20,426,496 in non-economic damages. For at least 600 violations of Maya Bella's Eighth Amendment right, $128,800,000 $100,000 in non-economic damages. For its role in this conspiracy to inflict emotional damage to Maya Bella Reed, $4.8 million in non-economic damages. For its role in the conspiracy of negligently inflict emotional damage to Maya Bella Reed, $4.8 million in non-economic damages. For his role in the conspiracy to illegally use restraint and seclusion methods on Maya Bella Reed, $4.8 million in non-economic damages. For his role in the conspiracy to trap Maya Bella Reed inside a seclusion cell, $4.8 million in non-economic damages. For his role in the conspiracy to violate Maya Bella's Eighth Amendment, $4.8 million in non-economic damages. For his role in the conspiracy to discriminate against Maya Bella in the violation of the 504 Rehabilitation Act of 1973, $4.8 million in non-economic damages. Okay, now for the rest of these, I'm just going to read one. Well, really, I've read them all. Everybody else besides 4J and Paula, I just come after them for the conspiracy charges. And so for all of them have 8 different conspiracy charges, and they range between, I believe, 600,000 each to, I think the highest is like 1.2. So Joe Hadley, because he was a principal, I asked for 900,000 in each. I think there's a couple on here. Yeah, so Katherine Johnson, 600,000 for her 8. Sarah Campbell, 900,000 for her 8. Melissa Ibarra, 600,000 times 8. Bernadette Adaran, 600,000 times. Pfeffelin, 1.2 times 8. Mike Eamon, 600,000 times 8. Erica Wolf, 600,000 times 8. Andy Dye Jr., 1.2 times 8. Courtney Leonard, 600 times 8. Abby Newells Lowe, 600 times 8. Keith Usury, 600 times 8. Eliza Drummond, 600 times 8. Karen Akbar, 600 times 8. Tom Maloney, 600 times 8. Michelle Dunn, 600 times 8. And Lisa Forjevec, 600 times 8. Also award plaintiffs attorney fees, litigations, expenses, and costs at the highest rate allowed by law. Pre and post judgment interest at the highest rate allowed by law. Issue such other relief that the court may deem just, proper, and equitable. Respectfully submitted this 11th day of January 2024. And then, of course, all my information. So there you go. There goes my $564 million lawsuit against my daughter's school district. Again, if you got to this far, that was a great. That was so much more support than I can ask for. But we're not out of the woods. I still need to raise a lot of money just to cover the legal expenses from the printing. Also, ideally, I would like to work on this full time. Right now, that took me a long time to do because, I work 10, 12 hours a day, still have to figure out how to pay the bills and things like that. And it's actually put us in a tough financial spot trying to pursue this and trying to do it the right way. But like I said, while I'm not opposed to a co-counsel, I'm definitely not going to use a lawyer because, again, this is just my protest against the system because at the end of the day, the reason why I can name so many people is because so many people was involved in the cover up. And the reason why we even get to this point, again, I'll show you guys the video one day, but these guys know that the legal system is not set up for people like you and me. The legal system is not set up for us to get justice. Your ability to get justice is very much dependent upon how much money you have. And so I don't have a lot of money. And so I'm going to the people and trying to show you guys that if we can unite, right? I don't need one person to give me $1,000, but if we can get many people to give $5 or whatever to support this cause, not only is this going to get, I guess you would call it restorative justice for my daughter, but it's also going to set a precedent for not just children going forward, but I believe parents going forward. So I think it's very important that we get behind this because this is, again, one of the, in my research, this is the largest child abuse case against special needs kids in the history of America. And I do believe that it needs to be managed by a parent. I don't believe this is something that we need to hand off to a lawyer and just have them kind of think what they need to do to get a settlement. I believe that when dealing with kids as parents, we need to be able to assert our parent or our children's rights, because if we don't, we could get screwed over by the system, by the abuser, and by lawyers. And I was very, very close to all that happening to me. So please, any support you guys can give will be greatly appreciated. But man, I am tired. I think that took about 3 hours, 2 something hours. I don't know. But man, y'all have a good one, man. Thank you so much. And I will see you guys very soon. Peace.